Hello everyone, if you're new to my channel, consider liking and subscribing. It will make me feel wonderful if you do that. Thanks. By the way, I also have another Naruto and Luffy fanfiction channel. If you are interested, link is in the description.
Someone to Follow by SapphireRoselle. Sky is an experiment. She has the virus VP010 running through her veins. In other words, she is a vampire. Hated by her family and in her world in general, she stays with her captors until she is transported to another world. Here she is found by a young man, one who can accept her and travel the world to become king of the pirates. Big shout out to the warlords of this channel: Craig Twitchell, Throat Punch, Roderius Jones, Native Warrior, Claude Lifrace, Neo Wesker 23, Derek Dowdy, Zazu Sayaz, Abdul Rauf Ali, N3WT, What_if_Lord, Black Money _Young Leon, Garrick Russell, Case Clark, KSGPL4YZ, and Brian McKenzie. You know who you are. Want to stand among legends? Join the channel membership and show your support. Adios. P.
Chapter 1: Pain. I could feel the pain coursing through my body, temporarily keeping me from moving. Probably low on blood. I'll need to feed soon. Opening my eyes, I quickly shut them as sunlight beamed into them. Well, that explains part of the pain. Gathering my remaining energy, I sit up and look around me. Trees. Big ones. That's not right. Even if the explosion threw me far off from the base, I should still be surrounded by snow. Instead, I'm surrounded by trees in a forest. I'm definitely not where I am supposed to be. My Ko's are not going to be pleased. I shuddered at the thought of their punishments. I may be able to heal fast, but that just extends the torture they can inflict. Looking down at myself, I could see I still have all of my equipment, despite the shredded and burnt state of my pants and jacket. My pistol on my left thigh, 3 throwing knives strapped to my right with some shuriken. Checking my boots, I still had another knives in its hidden holster, as well as the ones on my arms and the sleeves of my jacket on my arms. Seeing the 3 satchels still attached to my belt, I open it and check the one on my left hip. Sighing in relief when I see the inhaler and 5 tubes to put in it full and unharmed. Good, even if I drink a full one now, I'll still have enough to last me the next 4 to 5 months. Quickly putting 1 tube in the inhaler and bringing to my mouth, I quickly drained it. Putting it away, I clench my jaw and let myself lie back down as I feel my body begin to heal itself. Bones snapped back in place, bruises and cuts healed, new skin formed over burns, and everything healed, leaving no scars. Feeling my energy replenished, I stand and begin to look around me. Seeing only trees around me, I close my eyes. Letting my sense sink into the life around me, I could feel forest all around. Animals of many types of life signatures dotted all around me. Sinking deeper, I finally found a human presence. Opening my eyes, I head in the direction the human is at. Pulling out my compass from a different satchel than before, I quickly note that I'm heading north. Well, that is good. Perhaps I can ask this person for directions to the nearest airport. I can hijack a plane or helicopter to get back. Even though I don't want to go back. I have nowhere else to go though. My own family rejected me once they learned what I had been turned into. I held back my sorrow at being tricked years ago into thinking I had escaped, when it was really a setup for me to see I was not going to be accepted anymore. I have resigned myself to being an experiment, an assassin, till I could find a place they could never find me. I blink in surprise as I feel the person is nearby, much sooner than I expected. Must have sped up while thinking of then. I exit the trees into a clearing and was surprised to see a teen sitting on a rock facing me as I came into view. Immediately I knew this guy had been expecting me. Studying him, at first glance he didn't look like much. I estimated he would be about 170 centimeters tall, had a simple red t-shirt, black pants, and black combat boots. He seemed kind of scrawny and wore a worn straw hat on his black-haired head. Further study showed the lean muscles, calluses on his hands, scars on his arms from long years of training, and his eyes showed intelligence and a readiness to fight, as well as sharp intuition. I could also feel the quiet pulsing of strength and power coming from him, both already trained and unknown. He is a force to be reckoned with, but in the future, with more training, I dare say he could become unstoppable. You are a long way from home, stranger. The teen was looking at me like he was staring straight into my heart and soul. Matter of fact, you are a long way from your world. My heart sped up at that news. So I was right. I thought something felt different. I thought it was just the forest, but the shift in energy before I blacked out from the explosion took me here. Yep. I studied the guy again. How do you know this and where is here? Don Island, Goa Kingdom. You told me, or your inner voice did. He stated this as if it was obvious. Inner voice? You can hear people's hearts and feelings? He nodded. Interesting. So can I not to the extent that you can though, it seems. I can only feel their level of power and location. He gave me a gentle smile. Empathy. It requires empathy to hear more than what you do now. Ah. That's why. I see. Perhaps I'll never reach further than what I have. I threw away most of my emotions and feelings a few years ago. Join my crew. The guy states out of the blue, eh? Join my crew. Repeating isn't going to help me understand. I glared at him. What is there to understand? Join my crew. Again the tone like it was obvious and done. I groaned. First off, what kind of crew? Second, who are you? Third, why? The guy stood up excitedly and rushed to the middle of the clearing, grinning at me with such a smile. It should be impossible to smile that wide. Why? Because you are strong, and I'm Monkey D. Luffy? I'm going to King of the Pirates. Stupid boy. You can't yell that. Then just run off. I yell at the back of Luffy as I chase him to who knows where. Well, he knows. That's not the point. Frustration rises as I chase the boy over logs, boulders, around trees and animals, who, thankfully, do not attack us. Otherwise I would have killed the poor animal for bad judgment. As I turn another corner and saw him further away I growl. Honest to goodness growl. Huh. Never done that before. This blasted boy though. If I could just catch him I could. I crash into a tree the same time my thoughts do. Stepping back from the indent I look around. No Luffy. That's it, I've had enough. First, I'm punished for refusing to drink from a prisoner. Then our base explodes. Then I'm stuck who knows where and now that blasted boy runs off. Where is he? Feeling my fangs grow I search the area with my powers. Feeling the boy not far off, I run to him. In a second I have him pinned to the ground and I'm staring at his face. His grinning face to be exact. I was going to lit into him, but that grin stops me. Confusion fills me. I know what I look like. Fangs and glowing golden irises with the black of my pupil leaking into the gold like sickly veins. He's grinning at me though. Amazing. Your eyes are gold. And you've got fangs. Real fangs. Awesome, he yells in my face. I let him go and stand, my hands covering my ears. Ow, that hurt. Then his words register. Awesome? This isn't awesome. It shows that I'm a monster, I yell at him. So, I like monsters. His voice is final like there was not a single argument to be had. I drink blood. In fact at this moment your blood is taunting me to take it when I'm in this state. It sort of is, not as much as it would have earlier when I was hurt, but I'm trying to get him to show his true colors. This can't be right. Humans can't like me. My own family hates me. The world hunts my kind down whether they were vampire willingly or not. Again, so, I could eat enough for 20 people. I love meat to the point of almost obsession, and I'm far stronger than most people of my age. He puts on some fingerless gloves and punches a boulder nearby. It cracks and then shatters. I stare at him. How? You're human, you shouldn't be able to do that. Exactly. Because of the blood that runs through my veins I'm considered a monster and if my lineage was ever found out I'd be executed. Same as my brother. The world sees us as monsters and shouldn't exist, when they are the true monsters. I remembered my peaceful neighbor who loved to garden and watched over the children of the neighborhood. I remember the shocked look in her eyes as she was killed in her home with no explanation, except she was a vampire and had no right to exist. I was 5 years old when the purges began. Since then, it has never ended. I've killed innocents before. Unable to look in his eyes I stare at the ground. Not kids, but still innocent people. Did you enjoy it? His voice was low. No, I hated it. Though I thirsted for the blood that was spilled I hated every kill. Still do. The memories taunt me. He kneels in front of me and lifts my chin so I have to look at him. And that is why I want you on my crew. Yes, you are strong. But I want to give you a chance to heal that darkness in you. You aren't bad, you were just forced to be bad. I look into his eyes and I can neither see or sense deceit. His words are simple, but they resonate with me. I want to hate you. You're bringing out emotions I have long tried to throw away. Key word is tried. He stands up and stretches. Alright, now that you are part of my crew, I'm gonna find some meat. He begins to walk away. Hey, I still haven't agreed. What if I don't want to be part of your crew? It's a lie. I want to see what Luffy will do. The first person to see me as I am and not what I was portrayed as. I want to follow him. He turns around and pushes his hat to the back of his head. I made the mistake of looking at his eyes. They were wide and tearful. You don't want to be part of my crew? You don't want to be my friend? His voice is pitiful. Dang it, he looks like a kicked puppy. Blast you. This is clear manipulation. Fine, I'll join your crew. But you may not want me if you knew everything. I point out to him. Sure, he may have massive strength like me, but how will he react to me controlling the elements? He immediately grins. She. Well, I know enough. You'll be a great friend when I start my journey. I could tell he really meant friend, not a comrade, though that was what I was choosing. Perhaps. So when do you start your journey? I follow him as he begins walking around the forest looking for something to hunt. In a year, like my brothers, I'll set off after my 17th birthday like they did 2 years ago. We come to a river. Why 17? He opened his mouth to answer when a crocodile pops out of the river and tries to eat us. Hoo, crocodile meat, my favorite. Then with a quick series of punches and kicks, the reptile is dead on the river bank. I stared at the huge crocodile dead at my feet. There is no way he is human. I discreetly moved to stand next to, and slightly behind him as we walk off to wherever so he can cook the meat. Taking a discreet sniff, I smelt his blood. Definitely human, but how is he so strong? Even training with these abnormally large animals in this forest alone shouldn't make him like this. I used Busashoku Haki, he states out of the blue. Guess I was thinking too loud. What is Busashoku Haki? Wonder if I can use it. I'm already strong, but never hurts to have another weapon. It's an invisible armor, essentially made from my spirit. Using my strength and will, I can coat a part of me or a weapon with an extra hard layer to defend or attack. I don't always use it, but when I'm not training to improve my strength I use it. I just really wanted to eat soon. Sounds nice. I can heal quickly, but it's draining to be cut and then heal repeatedly. Can anyone learn it? Depends on your willpower and life force. I let out a huff. Can't get anything past you, can I? At this moment, no, you aren't at the top of your game though. So how do I unlock it? The book I was given wasn't very helpful, so I just hit things repeatedly with my bare fists till I could form the haki and then focused it on other areas once I had that. I sighed. I see. Well, I know what I'm doing for the next few weeks or so. A thought occurs to me. There is a book on it. Where did you get it from? You seem to be living in the middle of nowhere. He stops walking. There is a village down the mountain that I go to often. It's where I used to live. Makino, a bartender there, receives a package on my birthday every year. It contains a few books on different things. Like different devil fruits, haki, rokushiki, survival info, and a bunch of stuff about the Grand Line. He grins in excitement at the last part. He turns away and looks into the darkening forest. It never says who it's from, but I have an idea. There was a faraway look in his eyes, with a hint of sadness. Deciding not to pry, I ask, is it alright if I borrow and read those books? If I'm going to be part of your crew, I need info. Sure. Suddenly he turns around and looks at me intensely. Do you need blood right now? Can you drink crocodile blood? I hold myself from retreating a step back at his intense gaze. I can drink any animal blood, though blood from mammals is more effective due to similarities to humans, and no, I don't need any right now. I have enough in storage to last me a few months. I tap my satchel to show him. All right, that is good to know so I can prepare for sea travel. He comments. I nod in agreement. Now, we are almost to Dayton's place. Do you want to meet her tomorrow or tonight? Perhaps tomorrow would be best. I hate to admit it, but I am a bit overwhelmed with everything. I don't want to reach my limit and scare them. Okay. Well, I'll see you tomorrow then. He grabs the crocodile and walks off. I follow him to see where he was going, a hut not far off. Well, I shall see you tomorrow, Monkey D. Luffy. We shall see if you still feel the same once you have had some time to think on today. Keeping my senses alert, I watch as Luffy enters the hut. Well, it's a bit big to call a hut, but it's not in the best condition, at least on the outside. I am curious as I feel a sudden drop in power from Luffy when the door closes after him. Interesting. Deciding not to dwell on it, I look around me. Big trees, more trees, and, oh look, a giant bat just flew by. Looking up at one of the trees, I notice one branch is thick enough for me to sit on comfortably. 2 quick jumps later, I settle myself on the branch, my back to the trunk, and sit crossed-legged. Closing my eyes, I let my thoughts go through this day. Okay, first off, I'm in another world. One that has its own kingdoms and ruling systems. Second, I've been wait, back to the first one. Another world. I'm in another world. I sit up in surprise and try to squash the hope rising in me. That means, no, it can't be that simple. Can it? No, it can't be that simple. Nothing in my life is. I think back to the explosion, trying to remember each detail. Tremors, explosions, life forces going out by the dozens in seconds, fire, then warmth. Something I hadn't felt since I was a young child. Since before the purges. As red and blackness consumed me, I had felt warm. After years of cold, this was unexpected and welcomed. I thought as was death, but now I realize it was protection. That feeling of safety even in the midst of danger. Someone or something had saved me from what seemed to be complete annihilation. Why? I'm not worth it. I'm a killer, a monster. You aren't bad, you were just forced to be bad. Luffy's words echoed back to me. Perhaps one day I'll believe it. I whisper into the night. Not perhaps, you will. Luffy says out of the blue, making me jump internally. Without opening my eyes, I ask, exactly how much am I broadcasting to you right now? A lot, not specifics, just the emotions that go with it. Right now I could hear longing and hope. Stupid ability to hear everything, I mumble, irritated. Right now you are so shaken, that your walls are down. It is easier for me to hear you now, than what is most likely normal for you. I open my eyes to see him holding a book while sitting further down on the branch. Pushing down everything I didn't want to talk or think about, I asked, what book is that? Haki and Rokushiki. He starts to hand it to me, then stops. First, tell me, what is your dream? TCH, don't you know already? I asked, irritated. If I knew, I wouldn't ask. He looks at me and asks again, head tilted in curiosity. What is your dream? Looking away from his gaze, I looked into the forest. When I was a child, I wanted to be a doctor or a scientist. To find a way to save as many possible lives from passing when they could have lived if a hospital had just been closer. Now though, I just want to be free. Technically I am right now, but I still feel like there are chains around me. So you sort of have the same dream as me. I look back at him. Don't you want to be king of the pirates? Whatever that means. Sure do. 'Cause he is the one with the most freedom of all, again that impossible grin. I gave a small teasing smile, feeling more cheerful than I've felt in a long time. Oh really? Perhaps I should make my own crew and set out for it. He throws a small tantrum. No, I'm gonna be king of the pirates. Besides, you already promised you'd be part of my crew. He's pointing at me and breathing heavily. You are a mystery. One moment you're serious and wise, the next you're this. I gesture to his current state. She. Sorry. He grins, slightly embarrassed and rubbing the back of his neck. I can't help a small laugh. Don't worry, I have no intention of becoming Pirate King, and like you said, I'm part of your crew and I always try to keep my promises. That's good. He hands me the book. I think you already have some form of Kenbunshoku haki, but I think this will help refine it. Thank you. I looked at the table of contents. Do you mind if I try to learn Rokushiki? Do whatever you want. I may be your captain, but as long as you don't intend to use anything you learn for evil, I want you to learn everything. I need a strong crew. He raises his fist into the air, excited. That you do. The Pirate King should have no less. Remind me tomorrow to ask you more about the Pirate King and the Grand Line. I believe that was the other thing you were excited about. Sure. He jumps off the branch onto the ground. See you in the morning. He waves as he leaves. The advantage of being a vampire, able to see in the dark. Another one being that I don't need to sleep. Opening the book and flipping to the first chapter, I begin to read. How Shoku Haki. An ability only given to a very few born with it. It is the ability to exert one's willpower over another. It is also called King's Haki, as it is said one who can use this ability has the qualities of a king. I highly doubt I have that ability. Let's see the next one. Busashoku Haki. The ability to create from one's spirit an invisible armor around oneself. It can be used to augment the user's own physical attacks, projected ahead of the user as pure brute force, or imbued into weapons to increase their effectiveness. Interesting. Perhaps I can coat my bullets in this haki. If so, it seems I could penetrate bulletproof armor. I wonder if they even have that here. How advanced is this world? The book went on to say that it could bypass devil fruit powers that have altered the body. Unlike Seastuan though, it didn't nullify the devil fruit powers. Another thing to ask Luffy about, and ask the book for. I remember him mentioning he has a book on these devil fruits. I read on, with the book explaining that to unlock this haki, one needs to meditate and learns about themselves and then master their will and spirit, thus unlocking their haki. Or something like that anyway. I don't really want to do that. I scanned the whole chapter again, and on one page at the bottom in very, very small print it read, or you can unlock it by being hit or hitting things repeatedly till haki forms. Did Luffy add that? I looked at it closer. Nope, it is actually printed there very small. Actually so small you wouldn't notice unless you were looking hard and had good eyesight. From what I could gather from my brief meetings with Luffy, is that he was smart, but he didn't like to stay still for very long. Matter of fact, some part of him was always moving. Perhaps I could do a mixture of these two methods. Well, moving on. Kenbunshoku Haki. It allows the user to sense the presence of others, even if they are concealed from view or too far to see naturally. It can also allow you to predict your opponent's moves and dodge accordingly. Beware though, if your haki is weaker than your opponent's, it can be overpowered, and also haki does not automatically mean being able to dodge. Ah yes, even if you can see your opponent's moves, if you can't physically move away its effect is nullified. Seems I already have the sensing those I can't see and their location thing down. I don't believe I have the prediction thing though. I dodge on instinct of something coming at me, not the thoughts of my opponents. So that is what Luffy meant on refining. The book went on to say there was another step where one could learn to sense and empathize with the emotions of others. Yet, Luffy could tell I was from another world. Luffy seems to be able to sense things to a deeper point than just empathy. I wonder if I can spar with Luffy tomorrow. I can see his strength and he can help me refine Kenbunshoku Haki so that I can begin predicting enemies' moves. That'll be very helpful. Closing the book and taking a watch from one of my satchels, I looked at the time. It read 1 AM May 18th. So, I've gone ahead a month. It was April in my world. Actually, my old world to be exact. Nice that my watch was reset to this world's time. Somehow I know I will never return to the world I was born in, and I can't find it in myself to grieve. In fact, I am relieved. I wonder when Luffy wakes up. I will work on unlocking Busashoku Haki. Jumping down from my branch, I begin walking around to find a sturdy stone to practice on. Finding one about 10 minutes later, I stand in front of it debating whether I should keep my gloves on or not. The virus that runs through my veins enables me to control and produce all the elements, so I created my gloves to be flexible yet woven with a metal alloy that is strong enough to withstand knives and bullets and yet able bend to allow my hands flexibility. Matter of fact, all my clothes was made with like this. Looking down though at my tattered clothes, I finally remember I need to repair them and check my equipment. Just because I have them didn't mean they are in good condition. I decide to check my equipment after some training. Focusing on my clothes, I tap into the elements and carefully weave my clothes back together, connecting broken threads, and making it look like new. Looking at the patch on my shoulder with the insignia of my former captors, I rip it off and create a new blank patch. When Luffy creates his Jolly Roger, I believe I'll put that on there. With that done, I remove my gloves and standing in a stance reading for striking the rock, I focus on my life signature. I watch as energy flowed through my body, the ebb and flow, the breaths it took. Focusing on the rhythm, I gently guide it to my hand. Feeling it begin to surround my hand, I wait a moment and then strike out at the rock. Crack, biting back a scream so that only a grunt came out. I pull back my broken hand and wait a few minutes for it to heal. Well, I think I have the basic principles, but it's going to take me a while to actually use those principles. Perhaps I shouldn't hit so hard? I feel my shoulders sag as I realize something. I don't know how to hold back, not anymore. This is going to be a painful process. 3 painful and informative months later, I have mastered both hakis and have started to use a few rokushiki skills combined with my elemental and vampire abilities. Soru was easy, as I already could move like lightning with both vampire speed and light. Kamii was easy as well, for in the past using air, I already knew how to make myself as light as a feather to move with the wind of my opponent's attacks. Geppo, again, was easy as I could already manipulate air creating jump points. I was working on combining Geppo and Soru. So far it has created some very painful falls. Rankyaku I adapted the concept, so that with any slashing motion I can cause a slash of air or water to head to my target. I didn't need the speed the technique called for. I am still debating whether to learn and adapt the Shigen technique, but I was really partial to my pistol and wasn't sure I needed to learn it. Tekai I decided not to learn as I felt Haki was enough, plus I could already create a shield from air. I also practiced and honed my basic elemental abilities, as well as training with Luffy so he could learn how to fight against devil fruit users who had elemental aspects. I had been so relieved when I revealed to Luffy my abilities. I really shouldn't have expected anything different from him, but he adored my powers. He also adored fighting against them. Luffy, in one word, is incredible. He was human and to see him use Soru was incredible. I was so shocked when he first used the technique, I got punched into a boulder. Kamii was difficult for him, as he couldn't quite turn off his observation haki and he was dodging more than letting himself go and flowing like the wind. He was slowly getting there though. Tekai was the same only with armament haki. He keeps unconsciously using that. We are both thinking on how to turn off that automatic instinct. The last 3 he was having trouble with, as there were only so many times he could punch and kick to increase his speed and strength. I finally remembered a solution and was trying not bang my head on a rock as I didn't need another injury. Which brought me to another problem. I sigh as I look into my satchel that held my blood vials. Barely half a vial left. I use haki and locate Luffy. From his direction, I'm guessing he is at that cliff he likes to sit at and stare at the sea. In a second I was next to him. Seeing he was deep in thought I sat down near him. I watch as Luffy stares at the sea for a few more minutes then seems to shake himself and look at me. Yo, need something? I nodded. I know you said I could do what I want as long as it wasn't for evil, but how do you feel about me going to Hightown and getting some blood? I could tell he was surprised. Need blood already? How are you going to get it? I sigh. Yeah, because of the training I've needed more blood than normal to heal and replenish my energy. I'll disguise myself as whatever to suit whoever I find suitable and using a bit of hypnosis and I should be able to trick them into donating blood. 2 victims and I should have enough for 16 vials. Interesting. You have everything you need and know the process? I can tell he is concerned. Yes. Due to the fact that I flat out refuse to drink directly from someone unless it's an emergency, I was made to learn and extract blood in the proper medical procedure. I gave him a smirk. Don't worry, I don't kill unless I have a reason or order to kill. They'll be fine. He reaches over and hits my shoulder. Baka, I was worried about your hypnosis. If it fails and you are in trouble, what then? I rubbed my shoulder. You put haki in that hit. I glared at him. He just shrugged. That doesn't answer my question. Don't worry, it won't fail. I've had far more practice than I like. He sighs. Fine. Just be careful. I blinked at his concern. It's been a long time since I've seen genuine concern for me. Probably since I was like 7 or so and I'm 21. Or is it 22? Maybe 23? Nope, 22. I will. I should be back by tonight. I stood up and was about to leave when I remembered something. Oh, by the way, how do you feel about me stealing some valuables from the nobles? Go for it. He looks at me with a mischievous glint in his eyes. I had a feeling my own blue eyes mirrored his. With pleasure. With that I sped to the kingdom's walls. Putting my hood up and donning my half mask, and using light I made myself invisible, and used Geppo to get to the top of the wall. Seeing how Hightown was closer to the curve in this U-shaped kingdom I ran there. Jumping down from the wall I quickly made my way through the snall area of this part of Edgetown and came once again to another wall. Wonderful. I hate walls. As much as I wanted to make a massive hole in this wall just to see the reactions, I knew it would keep me from my original goal. Perhaps another time. Oh, I know, it could be my goodbye present when Luffy and I leave for his journey. A slightly insane grin crossed my lips. Yes, that'll be nice. A bit petty, but their valuables will more than make up for that. With that thought, I jump onto the wall, still using light to conceal myself. It's starting to hurt though. Have to get in the shadows soon so I can drop the illusion. Quickly jumping from the wall, I find the nearest dark alley and relax for a moment. I look up and see what I'm leaning against. Perfect, a noble's or at least a rich person's place. Let's see if they are suitable. Scanning the area to see if anyone was nearby, or in the room with the open window I could see, and seeing no one, I jumped into the house through the window. Making sure my haki was on full alert, I began prowling around the house sniffing the air as I went. Sometime later I found someone. There, seems perfect. Hasn't had any alcohol, smoked, and seems to have an okay diet. It wasn't required for the blood I took to not have these things, but it was my preference, especially for long-term storage. Making sure my target was alone, I carefully entered the room, already weaving the illusion and pulling him into my hypnosis. Carefully weaving the tale of him having a terrible disease. And I was an assistant to a doctor who refused to help him, but that I desperately wanted to help him. With the help of my illusion to look the way he wanted. And boy did he make my skin crawl. I took the blood I needed. Thankfully the whole process only taking 15 minutes. Quickly finishing up, I encouraged him to go downstairs and ask for some food and water. As soon as the door closed, I quickly began putting the blood into 8 different vials that I pulled out of the pocket dimension I had put them in earlier using my darkness, shadow powers. Each one was special, made by me with one of my ice crystals on top. I quickly found during the past 3 moths, that things I make from my own energy and not manipulating the natural sources around, were an extension of my will. These crystals carried my order to freeze the contents in the vial. While freezing blood is not optimal, it's better than having to search for blood regularly or be out of blood in an emergency. Carefully putting them into a padded box with compartments for each vial, I finish and put the box back into one of my pocket dimensions. Right as I finish, the door to the room I was in started to open. Quickly throwing up an illusion, I run to the window and jumped out of it. Luckily it was open. Hiding in the shadows, I scouted my next target and repeated the process in a different home, gaining 8 more vials. Putting 3 vials in my satchel, and the rest in my box, I was satisfied to have started a fund of berries and a supply of blood. Seeing the sun was about to set, I make my way back to Dayton's shack. I'm thankful the woman seemed to like me, but I think it was because I didn't sleep in their place and I helped Luffy hunt for more meat for them. Grabbing some fruits and killing a boar on my way, taking a small bit of the blood and carefully draining it into a cup and consuming it. I entered the clearing the shack was in just in time to see Luffy enter. He bore in the cook's direction, grabbed a plate and sit next to Luffy, who is grinning manically at the food about to be cooked. I slap the back of his head. You look like a nutcase. I ducked his attempt to slap as he says, no, I look like a starving man who wants meat. Then he begins running around asking when the meat will be ready like a hyperactive kid. I chuckle at his partial act. While he really did want the meat, seeing him exaggerate everything was amusing. I began peeling and cutting the fruits I found and putting them on the plate I grabbed. After preparing them all, I called Luffy over. I handed him the plate as soon as he flopped down next to me. Here, you need to eat more than just meat. Dumo arigato. He began devouring the fruit, grabbing the fruit with his hands and somehow chewing the food enough before swallowing. Seeing him now, you'd never believe, this young man knows how to use a fork and uses it quite regularly. I understand why he keeps his intelligence and skills from the bandits, so that Garp doesn't learn and try to drag him to the Marines, but it's difficult to watch him force some of his actions. He finished the fruit and handed me the plate. Nay, Sky, did you get what you thought you would? I thought about washing the plate. All the bandits were distracted with the roasting meat, but decided against it. Yeah. Enough to last me quite a while, and now I have a start for my own pirate fund. I spoke quietly to him, not wanting to hear Dayton rant about being in trouble with Garp for not turning Luffy to the Marine's side. Oh, how much? He asks, not taking his eyes of the meat that is almost ready. About 100k from pickpocketing. Amazing how much nobles carry in their pockets. She. Suddenly he pokes me. Nay, help me get as much meat as possible. I nodded, grabbing the plate that used to have fruit. As soon as the meat was served, I helped Luffy grab as much as could and pile it on the plate I had and the one he had. Running to his room, slamming the door behind us to Dayton's curses. Although they weren't as bad as they could have been since both Luffy and I had brought big catches. Luffy sighed in contentment as he stared at the plates of meat. Ah, I love doing that. I pity the poor cook who you recruit onto your crew. I gave him a small smile. Yes. We are going to need a good cook, a sea cook. One who knows how to travel the seas, keep us healthy, and fight. He describes his ideal cook while calmly eating. I nodded in agreement. Don't know where you'll find one, but that is ideal. Luffy. Pulling a ring out of one of my satchels, I gave it to him just as he finished eating. These are gravity rings. Due to my darkness, shadow powers, I can't manipulate gravity to an extent. So far I can only increase it, but I can't decrease. He took the ring and looked at it. So it's like training weights. I completely forgot about those. Once I'm used to the weight, I'll be faster. He slipped it on. Wow, that affects my whole body. Hi, because I'm increasing your gravity, the ring affects all of you, not just where it is. I slipped one on my own finger, with a slightly higher increase than Luffy's. Perfect for practicing the last 3 Rokushiki. Nay, Sky, how many more times will you go and get blood from Hightown? A couple more times. So I can also grab some more berries and maybe some jewelry. After that I'll prowl around the rest of the kingdom for more blood depending on how much we train. I just have to be careful who I take it from. Some are too strong-minded for my hypnosis to work. Okay. How much do you need? The past 3 months were unusual as I did far more training and had more injuries than normal. So I went through 4 vials pretty quickly. Normally though I go through about 1 every month, sometimes I can go longer. Sometimes it is shorter. Depends on what happens to me. So today, I got enough for a good year. I need more though. Being a pirate means I'll probably need more than I have been. Is that normal for vampires? Luffy asked as he held out his used plates for me to wash. I complied, using water and fire to clean and sanitize. Don't know. I didn't know much about vampires when I was a child, even though my neighbor was one. Then the purges began. After that, everything about them was erased. I only know some basics. Every vampire needs blood, have superhuman abilities, have a slower heartbeat and lower body temperature. So what are you? I could tell he was really curious. I'm Experiment 025, injected with serum VP10. While I call it a virus, it's the 10th strain that was created. I was the only survivor of 30 victims. Everyone else exploded at one point or another as their bodies collapsed trying to control the energy of the elements in the body. And you? Don't know. All I know is what they told me. Something about my body taking to the elements like I was born to have them. They also said I need far less blood than the typical vampire. That was also a result of them forcing me to go without for periods of time. So you and I are in luck there. I smirk at him. He mirrors my expression. So it seems. He stands up and stretches a little slower than normal thanks to the gravity ring. Ah. Well, time for bed. Need my energy if we're gonna hunt and train with these rings. Hi. I'll see you in the morning. I leave his room, then the shack. I didn't feel like training yet, so I ran to the cliff Luffy was at earlier. I could tell I was slower, but that'll be a short amount of time then. I will need to increase the amount again. Reaching the cliff, I lay down and stared at the stars, and listened to the sea, thinking over Luffy's reaction to my talk of vampires. Not a hint of disgust or fear. Just curiosity, interest, and general concern for my well-being. For the first time in years I let myself remember the happy moments with a friend of mine, before he was forced to abandon me with the rest of them. Well, it looks like you are getting your wish, dear friend. I finally found someplace I can start to find and be me. Ohio Makino. I greet as I walk into Party's bar. Ohio, Sky. How are you? Makino was at the counter wiping glasses. Frustrated. I mean, seriously? A rowboat? I sit on one of the stools at the bar, crossing my arms and resting them there. She giggles. Well, that is Luffy for you. I sigh. Yeah, he can be smart, but then he does something like this. I ask for some fruit and she gave me half an apple. Dumo. At this rate I'll have to fish him from the bottom of the ocean. She looks a little worried. Well, I'm glad he'll have you around to help him out. He still doesn't swim very well. Yeah, well, I'll try my best to take care of him. Suddenly Luffy runs in. Sky, come on. It's finally time to start our journey. I thought this day would never come. As quick as he came in, he was gone. Well, Captain's orders. I get up from the stool. Makino came from around the bar. We were about to leave when I stopped her. She turned to me and I bowed low to her. Sumimasen. I know it couldn't have been easy to have me living in your home for the past month, knowing what I am, but I thank you for letting me stay here and prepare food for our journey. I sense Makino come near me and I stiffened in surprise when she hugged me. That's where you are wrong. I know Luffy. He would never bring someone here that would harm me. Just after a couple of days I could see you are a good person. Sure, your main diet is blood and you have superhuman abilities. But despite your past, you're trying to have a better future. Not sure piracy is a better future, but at least Luffy has a more romantic view of a pirate's life and goal. I carefully hug her back. Dumo arigato gozaimasu. Take care of yourself. Releasing each other, we smiled at each other, mine not as big, but still there. Sky. I march out of the bar and head to the dock. Really, Luffy? I ask when I get there, passing him on the dock and hop into the boat. You can't wait 5 minutes? I just needed to thank Makino for letting me stay at her place and her input on my new clothes. Instead of my all-black catsuit-like stuff I came with, I now had a light blue long-sleeve jacket that reached my hips, with a high collar. It also had a hood I could remove. Navy blue tank top, with black leggings and black boots that came to my knees. Of course I still had all my weapons and satchels. Oh sorry. He smiled at me. That was entirely unconvincing. Why are you in such a rush? You were quite slow earlier today. He jumps onto the boat. Don't know, it just feels right to leave now. The villagers had gathered and were wishing Luffy a safe voyage and offering a bigger boat. I turned pleading eyes to Luffy at that. He ignores me. This is fine. It's what I want to start with. He turns to the sea. Ace was first, Sabo second. Yeah, I'm not counting that first trip, brother. He mumbles so only I can hear due to my hearing. I'm third. Wait for me, Ace and Sabo. I'll catch up with you. I could see the confusion on some of the villagers' faces at the names and what he was doing, but not Makino's. Luffy turns back to face the villagers. It's a challenge. Well, we are going now, please release the rope. We are released and Luffy and I begin rowing out, the villagers getting smaller. Ah, a nice day for sailing. Clear skies and a nice breeze. He was about to say something more when something rises up out of the sea. I look up and see an eel-like sea king. Hey, isn't that the lord of the coast? Luffy stands up and prepares to attack it. Yep, our local sea monster. I prepared for this moment for 10 years. Geppo. He leaps and bounces in the air as the sea king approaches. Renkyaku. Sending a powerful air slash at the creature, it slams into it, creating a deep gash and causing the beast to fall into the sea. Creating a small shield to protect us from the wave. Did you kill it? The wave settles and both Luffy searches for the Sea King. Finding it, he smiled. Nope. He's alive. He gestured to the sea. Can you? I nodded. He's happy. Must have not wanted to kill it. Just send it a message. Putting my hand in the water, I searched for the Sea King. He was underneath our boat, but far down. I could feel his life force leaking from the wound. Nauru. Sending a pulse out, I could feel the leak stop. Thank you, Sky, for doing that. You alright? He looks at me. Yeah. That was a big wound. I took deep breaths. Still not used to healing others' wounds. Plus I couldn't touch him. I pulled the hood up on my new coat. Hope you don't mind, but I'm going to meditate for a bit. Not at all. You do that and I'll row. As I settled, I feel the boat start to move and I relax into the sounds and rhythm of the sea. Nay, Sky? I twitched. It was one of the rare times I was completely relaxed. Nay, Sky. A poke. Another one when I didn't respond. I hear Luffy suck in air to yell. Yell, and I'll throw you overboard, I tell him flatly. Ah, you're aware. Just letting you know I let us drift, because I'm not sure where I want to go first and we are passing a pirate ship attacking another ship. He told me in one breath. Does one of these ships have a bigger boat than this? Hi. I opened my eyes and looked to where the ships are at. Well then. Sorry, Captain. But we are abandoning ship. I grab him and Geppo into the air. But the apples, we can't waste food, he cries in alarm. I toss him in the direction of the ships and he uses Geppo to right himself. You go to the ships and find a boat. I'll be there in a few minutes after I take care of the barrel. Hi, see you in a bit. He moves off to the ships. I land back in the boat and carefully put the barrel in a pocket dimension with all the other stuff I have there. I really hope we find a ship soon. Perhaps I can convince Luffy to steal the pirate ship. I abandon the rowboat and use air to float to the pirate ship. Looking around, I change my mind. The cleanliness is nice. The pink, not so much, and the hearts, I shudder. Putting my mask on, I was about to jump to the cruise ship that's being raided when I sensed someone. Carefully examining the presence, I knew why I felt it. It was similar to mine. Not in power, but in the emotions. Empathy. It requires empathy. Do I sense you because you are in a situation similar to what mine was? I debated whether to search them out when I saw chests were starting to come back to the ship. Pulling up an illusion, I jump on board the other ship. Sitting calmly on the railing nearer to the bow of the ship, I watch the chaos around me of pirates taking valuables and sending back to their ship, a large woman watching over it all. The captain, no doubt. Suddenly 2 guys pop out of a hatch terrified of something. Alvida-sama, a monster. The large woman, now identified as Alvida, threw her club at them. Who are you calling a monster? A bit touchy, eh? Wait, monster, please don't mean. The 2 guys clarified that some weird guy popping out from behind a counter in the galley and calling him a possible bounty hunter. I face palm. Oh Luffy, you're supposed to be looking for a ship. You can't ignore your stomach for 10 minutes. Alvida looks at one point on the deck and seems to listen for a moment, then with a look of rage breaks through the deck. Who are you going to catch? Hey, Kobe? She snarls as she drops down. Seeing the pirates move around the hole she made, I drop the illusion and move closer in time to hear her say something about a pirate hunter named Zoro. Zoro? The curiosity in Luffy's voice was unmistakable. Ignoring the rest of what was being said, I started thinking. Alvida. Alvida. Where have I heard that name? A bounty, maybe? Thinking of the correct book, I pull it out of my pocket dimension. I flip through the pages, ignoring the Alvida's cry of rage, though it hurt my ears a bit. Ah, here it is, I exclaim. Here's what? Asks Luffy. I turn to see him on the deck with a shaking pink-haired boy. Oh, I found where I heard the name Alvida from. I pointed to her poster in the book. These are the most current BKY to receive this early for your birthday. 5 million berries? That's a nice amount, Luffy commented, excited. Hi, it is. Should we cash it in? She. You can. I'm a pirate, remember? Right, though technically you still aren't. You don't have a ship or Jolly Roger. I point out to him. The pirates on deck were yelling something, but I ignore them. Though, you could go on to get this Zoro guy, and I can meet up with you soon. Ah, you heard about that. Great, that sounds like a plan. Now, we both turn to the oncoming pirates who are furious that we're ignoring them. Luffy gestures to me. All yours. HMPH. Thanks. Geppo. Hovering over the pirates using Geppo instead of air, I attacked. Mizu no Taifu. Making a small typhoon of water, I let the pirates spin for a moment, then Chirasu, flinging pirates everywhere into the sea. I land on the deck to see Luffy knocking out Alvida and telling the pirates on their ship to get Kobe a boat. Luffy turns to me just as Marines start firing. I call to the boy, hey Kobe. The boy turns to me shaking. Where's that Zoro guy being held? Shush else T-Town. He finally gets out after a few tries. Sheesh. Am I really that intimidating? Hood, mask, powers. Luffy lists off before jumping over the railing, Kobe following. Hee. Right. I say to the air. Looking around, I see a convenient coil of rope and go and tie up Alvida. Yeesh. Thankfully this rope is long enough. After a bit of talking to the Marines, I was able to get a paper confirming the capture that I could take to whatever office and collect the bounty. Acquiring a boat, which was better than the rowboat Luffy had, I start sailing up to Shell's Town to catch up with Luffy. Should be fine, I'm only an hour or two behind. I settle into the boat and checking on the compass and map every now and then and adjusting the sails. I arrived in Shell's town the next day, mid-morning. After docking the boat, I use Haki to find Luffy. Quickly heading in his direction, I reach where he is and wasn't surprised to see it was a restaurant. I removed my hood and mask and was going to enter when a blonde-haired guy with a purple suit came out yelling and crying about telling something to his father and 2 Marines chasing after him. Entering the place, I see Luffy sitting at a table, his face angled to the table, hat shadowing his eyes. Deciding to be silent, I walk over and sit down in the chair across from him. "Nay, Sky, how do you feel about me recruiting pirate hunter Roronoa Zoro?" he asks after a few minutes. I shrugged. He sounds skilled, it would be a good addition. When you saw him, did you like him? His lips turned up in a smile. He's strong, determined, loyal, and willing to protect. In others' words, you are going to coerce him into your crew. I am going to ask him. He protested. Blackmail, manipulate, coerce, ask. I think it's all the same to you. You really want him on your crew. Our crew. He finally looks at me. That's the only thing you bothered to try and disprove? She. He stands up. Yoshi, I'm gonna get Zoro. Want to come? He asks me. I stand up as well and we begin to walk out. I'll go with you to the base, but then I'm going to cash in this bounty before you wreak some havoc and I'm officially on your crew in others' eyes. Okay. Slipping on my mask and hood, I enter the official lobby of the base and walk to the desk. Thankfully a Marine is there. Excuse me, I'm here to cash in a bounty. I have a letter here to confirm. I tell the man and give him the letter. 1 minute please. He turns and using the transponder snail, calls the number on the paper. After a few affirmatives, he turns to me. Unfortunately, Pirate Alvito was able to escape, but we are willing to offer you a quarter of the reward in compensation. Not letting my annoyance show, I accepted the amount, took the money and walked out of the base. Once out of sight of anyone, I slipped the money into the chest I took out of storage, and then put it back. Using Haki, I sense a strong presence and sorute it. I look at the man tied to the post. He looked dirty and hungry. So this is Zoro, the one Luffy wants to recruit. Zoro looks up in surprise and disbelief. Another one? So, I'm guessing Luffy tried to recruit you into the crew? I ask. You a part of it? You don't look like much, he taunts. Right now, neither do you. Besides, you wouldn't be able to land a scratch on me on your best day, I taunt back. Why you? He's cut off by a loud noise as something big hitting the ground. I look in the direction it came from and using Haki, sense Luffy near the area. Oh Luffy, what did you do now? Kobe runs up and begins messing with the ropes, saying he couldn't be in a navy like this and wants to be an honorable Marine. Ignoring Zoro's orders to stop untying him and telling him of his execution the next day. How Luffy got mad and insulted Helmeppo and threatened him. I could see the surprise on Zoro's face at Luffy's actions. Kobe move. I order. Yes, Sky-sama. He quickly moves back. Taking one of my knives I spin it around. If you agree to join the crew I'll cut the ropes. No, I won't be a pirate. He yells at me. Well then I'm leaving you here. Luffy will be disappointed but we can find someone else. Zoro was about to say something when I feel a group of people arriving. I hold up a hand, stopping him from speaking. We have company. Marines walked up aiming rifles at us and a huge man with an axe arm walking about them yelling about treachery and execution to all 3 of us. Ah, why me? I wasn't even going to let him go. He refuses to accept my offer, I jokingly protest. Now is not the time for jokes, Zoro yells angrily. Axe Hand was going on about something, and Zoro, answering back. Aim, I can't afford to die here, Kuina. It was just a whisper, but I could hear it. I look at Zoro as the Marines aim, and see the desperation in his expression. Fire. Mamoru. I created a shield of water protecting all 3 of us, the bullets being absorbed into it. I could hear the cries of shock as I released the shield. Luffy dropped down beside me. Nice one, he grinned at me. I gave him a short bow. Why thank you. I pointed to Zoro. Do we have to recruit him? I was ignoring the murmuring of the Marines. Shut up, Zoro yells. He keeps yelling and it hurts my ears, I comment. Who the hell are you two? Zoro yells, again. I'm Monkey D. Luffy. I'm gonna be the king of the pirates. He then points to me. She is Sky, my scout. Well, she should be anyway. He glares at me. I shrug. This situation isn't normal. Perhaps next time. Besides, you are the one to give me the okay to stay behind and get Alvida's bounty, and then the crappy Marines let her escape. I only got a quarter of the bounty. Really? That's too bad. Luffy consoles me. He turns back to Zoro. Here are your swords. I was guessing they were all yours, since Helmeppo doesn't collect swords. Join my crew. Well, I'd rather be a pirate than die here, Zoro states. Hoo-hoo. Luffy celebrates. As Luffy does that, I take my knife and slice through the ropes. Luffy stops celebrating and gives Zoro his swords in time for Zoro to run up and stop the Marines' incoming swords. Move and you're dead. He threatens the Marines. I scoff at the Marines' tears. TCH. I've seen things more intimidating than that. Shut up or I'll slice you instead. Zoro yells at me, despite the sword grip in his teeth. Nay, Luffy. Your turn. I gesture to the Marines. He laughs in excitement. Zoro, duck. Rankyaku. Zoro ducks as Luffy sends a weak kick to the Marines. Even weakened, he still slices the Marines a bit, not enough to kill them though. I tamp down my anger at Axe Hand's order to the soldiers to kill themselves. It reminded me too much of my former Ko's training forced new recruits. I closed my eyes and breathed, forcing my vampire instincts back in my body to relax. Go, Luffy-san, crush this navy, I hear Kobe yell out. I OP fighting the captain, not even using haki or rokushiki. As Luffy punched Morgan's face and yelled about ruining Kobe's dream and bringing back bad memories to me, I smile behind my mask. Arigato, Luffy. I reach out and punch the shaking blonde guy about to put a gun to Kobe's head, as Luffy uses haki to shatter Morgan's axe. Luffy turns to me, better, now that I've punched something, yes. And waving my hand like it's no big deal, and you punching that guy helped too. Zoro rushes forward slicing the captain's chest, as the fool tries to attack Luffy's back. Ooh, nice one, Zoro. Luffy compliments. My pleasure, Captain, Zoro answers. The Marines begin celebrating and then Zoro almost faints, falling onto the ground, mumbling, hungry. I sigh. You guys feed him. I'll be looking for a ship. I wave to them and start to leave. The ship we have will do fine for now. We'll get a new one soon, just not yet, Luffy states firmly. I stop and slump forward in defeat. At least it's better than that rowboat. Hey, I like that boat. What happened to it anyway? Drifting, capsized, driftwood, smashed in a whirlpool. Who knows, so many scenarios. I begin leaving again. I'm going to buy some fresh fruit and put it in the boat. Ship. Luffy corrects me. Boat. Ship. Boat. Soru. I speed off, leaving Luffy yelling about how no matter how small it was still a ship. Captain, this town has been taken over by a pirate Captain Buggy, who has a Akuma no Mi, and is really paranoid about his nose, and looks like a clown. Also, the citizens fled, and the pirates are chasing a girl who stole a map of the Grand Line. I report to Luffy once I land on the roof he's on. Did you see what type of Akuma no Mi? Luffy asks. Sort of. Seems he can separate his hands from his body and levitate them where he wants. No idea if that applies to other parts of him, but knowing Akuma no Mi's, it probably does. He nods thinking. Wonder why the girl needs a map of the Grand Line. It's useless without a log pose. Wonder if the girl knows that. If she doesn't, she is as good as dead. I say matter-of-factually and with no intention of helping her. True. Sky. Luffy looks at me, pleading. Why? You can find her easily yourself. I'm hungry and can't work efficiently, he offers as an excuse. Yeah, I drew out the word, that's not why, but fine, I'll look for her. Closing my eyes I listen first. Thanks to the town being abandoned, the pirate base was the only loud place and that was simple to block out. Give back the map of the Grand Line, we just stole it. Ignoring the other things that was said, I cast my haki out in the general direction to get a read on the situation. Pretty weak opponents, will be easy to take care of. I focus on the girl. It was familiar. Strong, untapped potential and can't let them get it back. I finally have the map to the Grand Line. I will save them. I will get all the money and save them. As I hear the girl's thoughts, I realize it was the person I had felt on Alvida's ship. I open my eyes and look at Luffy. That's why you wanted me to search. He nods. Her heart's cry is similar to what yours was. He jumps down from the roof onto the ground. Soru. After a moment, I decided to follow him. Feeling the girl's aura stop, I knew Luffy had arrived. Reaching the spot, I jump onto a roof nearby and watch him, throwing up an illusion to conceal myself. I snicker as Luffy asks for the nearest restaurant. I see the scheming look on the girl's face and knew she thought Luffy was easy prey. She walks up to Luffy. "B boss, you came to save me." Luffy continues staring at the three pirates. "Hi." I smirk as I see the shock on the girl's face. "Wasn't expecting that, were you?" She looks at the pirates glaring at the two of them, then runs off. "Sorry, but they are all yours." Ignoring the fight, if you could call it that, I feel the girl behind me, climbing the house, and I drop the illusion. As her head pops up, I tell her, my tone dark. "You are lucky my captain wants to help you and is far stronger than you think. Otherwise I'd maim you for doing that. I'm quite fond of him." I could tell I had scared the girl, but she rallied. "Huh? That skinny idiot? No way." I gesture down at the street. "See for yourself." She climbs to the edge of the roof, keeping her distance from me. "Eh? How?" I don't answer and jump down to the street. "Hey Captain, where is Zoro?" Luffy shrugs. "Somewhere in town." I remember Zoro's explanation of how came to hunt pirates, so he even gets lost just following someone. She. Seems like it. We better up his hockey training or this is going to be a major problem if we ever get separated, I point out. Luffy nods and turns to the girl still on the roof. "Say, who are you?" The girl jumps onto a balcony, then the street. "Sugoi. You're stronger than you look. I'm a thief that steals from pirates." "I'm Nami. Want to team up with me?" she asks, excited. "No," he turns and walks off with me following. "See a restaurant on your way here, Sky?" "Negative," I reply. "You're in a mood," he points out, looking at me closely. I frown, though Luffy couldn't see it. I'm a bit put off by her actions. If it was anyone else, they'd most likely be dead with 3 against 1. Luffy was about to speak when Nami yells out. "Hold on, wait," I said. We both turn and look at the girl running to us. She was about to speak when Luffy's stomach growled. Luffy groans in despair. "I'm starving." "TCH. Baka." I mumble, rolling my eyes. "I heard that. How about I treat you to some food?" the girl offers. "HMPH. You aren't from here. Where you going to get the food from?" I ask her. How?" She gives up figuring me out and says, "Thanks to the buggy pirates, the townspeople aren't coming back soon. No sense in food going to waste." She begins leading us to a random house far from the knocked out pirates. We enter one and thankfully it has a lot of food. She prepares the food and gives it to Luffy. I pull out some berries and put it on the counter, glaring at the girl so that she doesn't take it. "HMPH. I only steal from pirates," she informs me. "A thief's a thief." Luffy counters. "I will get 100 million berries no matter what it takes," she states, determined. "That's a lot of money. What do you need it for?" Luffy asks after swallowing the last of the food. "It's a secret. You could save a lot of people with that kind of cash," I comment, studying her. A sharp intake of breath. "You planning to steal from pirates on the Grand Line?" I ask. She whirls around and stares at me. "Who the heck are you? How would you know that?" "Well, considering Buggy is looking for a thief who stole a map of the Grand Line, and you saying you need a lot of money from pirates, it's obvious. As for who I am, still working on that." "Are you working for Buggy?" she yells, angry and wary. "Nope, we are our own pirate crew," Luffy tells her. "You're pirates? Hi. I'm gonna be king of the pirates, be my navigator," Luffy states. "Never. I hate pirates more than anything in the world. I only love tangerines and money," she screams and walks to the window. I rub my ears. Too loud. Am I going to have to deal with every day if she joins? Really? That's too bad. Not all of them are bad. Luffy begins eating some bread from a basket of them. I sigh, putting more berries on the counter. I think of something. "Hey, Luffy. Why do you want her to our navigator? She could be terrible." "She's good. I just know it. I want her," Luffy answers. I see Nami calculating as I hear a couple of Buggy's crew searching for the girl. She turns back to us and walks to Luffy. I'm much more skilled than your average navigator. Help me get Buggy's treasure and I'll consider being your navigator. Luffy leans back in his chair. What do you have planned? You'll see, Nami says, then promptly ties Luffy up. I tilt my head looking at Luffy, silently asking, why? You'll see, he barely whispers, knowing I'll hear it. They start to leave the house and I follow. Hey, you. Sky was it? Nami asks. I nod. Stay here. Don't worry, nothing will happen to your captain, she tries to assure me. You're right, because I'll be watching the whole time. I don't take orders from anyone but my captain. I tell her coldly and leave the house and wait outside. After a few moments, they exit with Nami giving me a nervous look. I follow after them and once we reach where the buggy pirates, I create an illusion and jump onto a tower thing sticking out of the roof the pirates were on. I know Luffy is letting Nami underestimate him, but I couldn't figure out why. I have to admit though, with him sitting in that cage tied up, he didn't look like much. His long-sleeve red buttoned-up shirt, rolled up to show the white trim, hid his muscles despite its proper fit. Fingerless gloves that went to his second knuckle, and few inches above his wrist, hid his scars and calluses. His black cargo pants and combat boots looked harmless, but I knew they held hidden knives at my request. Even if he never uses them on an enemy, it's good to have those for emergencies. As Nami's welcoming party goes on, I see Luffy is annoyed to have all this food around him, but not able to eat anything. Focusing on a random plate of meat, using quick slashes of air, I cut and then levitate a few pieces to Luffy, who quickly eats them. He smiles knowing I would see it. Just auto a nearby roof, the clown suddenly yells something about a special buggy ball, and I get a bad feeling as a cannon is rolled out. I see the cannonball being carried. A giant, red cannonball? Not good. I couldn't help gasp as it fired and an entire row of houses was destroyed. I like a good explosion, but this is pointless. I'm thankful the people have evacuated. I look at Luffy and see him shaking in silent fury, jaw clenched and eyes shadowed by his hat. I knew that he was remembering Grade Terminal, and the senseless destruction. He even ignored Buggy's claims about being the one to conquer the Grand Line. Knowing he needed time to collect himself, I jumped to the cage, and create an illusion in front of it, making it appear he was looking at Buggy and Nami. Using a new technique I had learned, I changed my voice to Luffy's. I'm the one who is going to conquer the Grand Line. I'm gonna be king of the pirates. As Buggy talks with Nami and the cannon is prepared, I hear Luffy whisper, Arigato, Sky. I'm better now. I drop the illusion in front of the cage. Don't know if you're really better now. You've got a cannon pointed at you. I use air to carry the words only to his ears. It's fine. Nami won't let it fire. Luffy assures me, completely confident in the girl. If you say so. The other pirates won't stand back though if she doesn't do it, though. I think through different scenarios that could play out. Zoro will help since he doesn't know you're here. Oh, him. I shrug. I forgot about him. Sure, he draws out the word. He focuses on Nami and raises his voice she could hear. What's the matter? Your hands are shaking. This is what happens when you take on pirates with half-assed resolve. What? The resolve to take a life like it's nothing, a pirate's resolve? Nami spat at him. Her hands clenched so hard that blood was starting to flow. I watch it. I hear a gunshot and a cry of, Bell Mirror, ah. Another piece, a few more and I'll know her situation. It's the resolve to put your own life on the line. Luffy finishes. I tense and shift into a stance to attack as some guy steals the matches and begins to light the fuse. Chato Mat, Sky. Let this play out, Luffy tells me. Nami knocks out the guy, saying something about not becoming one of these inhuman pirates. Luffy yells that the fuse is still lit. Nami looks around and I know she is looking for me. Seeing nothing, she runs and stops the fuse with her hands. I wince as Nami cries out in pain. As pirates charge to slice Nami up, I sense Zoro again. Hearing him walk up, I finally relax. How many of you are attacking one girl? He asks the pirates as he holds them back. Flinging them back, he turns to Nami, you alright? Hi. Arigato. Nami replies. I could see her shaking though as she tries to adjust to the pain. Zoro looks at Luffy. What are you playing around for? First you ditch me, and now you're in a cage. Where's Sky? I drop my concealment and wave. Yo. You were there the whole time? Nami and Zoro yell in sync. Well, not the whole time. I shrug. Right before Luffy states something about being Pirate King. I point at Zoro. Besides, you were here since they fired the first buggy ball, Zoro. He shrugs. Luffy gave no indication to help. Same situation with me. Unlike you though, I decided to stand firmly by my captain. I say with false haughtiness, and gesture to the cage I was standing by. Zoro glares. Why you, pirate hunter Zoro? Have you come here to take my head? Buggy asks. Nope, not interested. I gave up pirate hunting. Zoro walks to Luffy and I as he speaks. I'm interested. Killing you would increase my name. Try it, and you'll die. He glares back at Buggy. We'll see about that. He begins spinning his swords. Word of caution, Zoro. He has an Akuma no Mi. He can separate his appendages from the rest of him. Don't know what else though. I tell the man carrying the words to his ears only. He nods in acknowledgement. It was over in seconds, but something was wrong. Removing my mask, I sniff the air. No blood. I see Buggy quickly get up. Zoro, dodge. Zoro moves quickly, evading the knife aimed at back and side. Luffy and I look at each other. He's unlocked it. Luffy comments. Time to up his training to perfect it. Seems he learns best in danger. I comment. I have so many ideas. I smile. Unknown to me, pirates who were looking at me shivered in fear. I looked very insane with my smile. Hey, big nose. It's unfair to attack from behind, Luffy yells out, and I knew he remembered what I told him of his nose. The grin on his face confirms it. He catches the knife thrown in his teeth. Breaking it, he states he's gonna kick his butt. While the pirates were occupied with Luffy, I made a decoy of me and rushed to Nami's side. Give me your hands. Quickly. I tell her as she hesitates. She holds them out and I press my hands onto her palms. Nauru. Her hands heal and before she can say anything I tell her, hurry, get your treasure while we are fighting them. I'll cover you. But they'll see me. She protests. Just trust me. Once you're a couple blocks away you are on your own, though. You never have to do it again, but this once, trust me. I step back and quickly make two illusions. One to make it appear Nami is still here. Another to conceal her as she runs off the roof. As soon as she was far enough away, I drop her cover and go back to my original spot, scattering my decoy. Luffy laughs and looks at me. Niece, now get me out of this cage, so I can kick this clown's ass. Ryo Ukai. Mizu no Suraisa. I slice of the front of his cage. He gets out and I take out a knife and slice the ropes that are tying him. I remove the sword that's been on my back and hand it to him, as well as his belt with his pistol and knives. Arigato. He buckles them in their places, and looks at Buggy, unsheathing his blade. Aho. Weren't you paying attention? You can't cut me. Buggy taunts. We'll see about that. Soru. He appears behind Buggy, clearly having done an attack. Ah. Buggy holds his arm where blood is pouring out. Haki, how does a nobody like you know that power? Wouldn't you like to know? Luffy taunts him. Seems you're wrong. I thought no blade could cut you. As they clash, I look at Zoro and his shocked gaze. That is what we want to teach you. The ability to bypass devil fruit abilities and to augment your attacks. Want a sword that won't break or receive nicks? Then learn Busashoku Haki. Of course it's not completely infallible, but with practice it's an incredible power. Soka. Earlier, I could hear Buggy's attack. I knew where to dodge. Was that Kenbunshoku Haki? He asks, not taking his eyes off Luffy who, while not the best swordsman, was able to hold his own. Hi. You've unlocked it. Now it's time to hone it. I have so many ideas. A dark smile crossing my lips. Zoro scoots away from me. I can tell. He looks at the two trying to interfere. Heads up. I got the unicycle guy. Ryo Ukai. I'll take care of the cat. I rush forward, throwing out my arm, Mizu no Cabe, creating a wall between the lion and Luffy. The lion cries out in pain as the wall slices his paw. Richie, the man on his back, cries. He began yelling threats at me, and was about to attack me. I ignore him and stare at the lion menacingly. Looking at him closer, I could see he was mostly a gentle creature. I softened. Stand down and do not interfere. I will drop the wall and heal your paw. Even though I'm getting very thirsty from using light and healing water constantly, I knew I had enough for another healing before the thirst would really kick in and push my instincts forward. The lion nods. Richie, don't, she won't keep her word, the man yells. I will. Unfortunately, if I say I'll do something, I will do it. The lion believes me and limps over to me. Once he reaches me, he holds out his paw. Nauru. His paw heals. I feel my thirst increase. I gesture to the wall. Chirasu. I collapse to one of my knees as the long couple of hours using like N. The lion gave me a worried sound, despite my aura getting darker. I pat its nose. Gomen Nesai, Captain, but I need to withdraw, I called out. Luffy Pav. At Sky's words I turn and look at her. Seeing her with one knee on the roof, arms wrapped around herself, and the slight shiver, I knew what was going on. Go. Zoro and I can handle the rest of this. Without a word she was gone. I stare at Buggy. I could feel fury building up in me. I love causing chaos, but not at the expense of the innocent. I look at the destroyed homes and the back at Buggy. Leave and I won't slice you as much as possible without killing you. You've harmed innocents and pushed my crew member to her limits. I can't forgive you for that. I remember in Mount Kalubo the self-loathing in Sky's expression as she miscalculated her injuries and how much blood she needed. And how the thirst became overwhelming. How it took a few months to make her realize I did not care. She was part of my crew, she had different needs and I was going to see to it that her self-loathing was eliminated. Forgive me, ha. Boy, you won't live past this hour. He separates himself into pieces, Bara Bara Festival. Rankyaku. Taifu. Sending slashes in a circle around me with kicks and swipes of my sword. Buggy is bleeding heavily. Enough. Leave and do not return here. If I see you attacking one of my crew or bothering another innocent town, I will not hesitate to attack. Buggy, knowing he was beaten, left yelling, retreat, I will get my revenge, Mugiwara. I sheath my sword and turn to Zoro. He is about to talk when I stop him. Later, I have to find Sky. He nods, following me as I jump of the roof. Quickly, I find her with Haki and take off, going slow enough that Zoro keeps up and doesn't get lost. I find her leaning against a home near the docks. She was staring at the nearly empty inhaler in her hand. It was full. It took me almost a full vial to calm down. She tells me flatly, Luffy, if I cut her off. I'll do better. Even when you don't think you need one, I'll make you. You were right in Mount Kalubo. Actually being a pirate is different than training for one. Look at me, Sky. Look at me. She looks up startled. Eh? Why is she so shocked? We just need to work together. Once we have a ship and more crew members, it will be easier to take care of each other. If the others can't accept me, what then? If I lose control and the others can't get past their fear, I'll. Yamaru. If someone can't accept who I have chosen to be on my crew, then they won't be on my crew, I state firmly. It's not as simple as that, Luffy. Most people aren't like you, or even Zoro. They hear, vampire, and either run screaming or try to kill me. Then my crew won't be most people. It may take a while for each member to adjust, but you are more than the virus in your veins. I accept all of you and our crew will accept all of you, and one day, you will accept all of yourself. I pull her into a hug. I could feel her stiffen in surprise. Too much, Luffy. Please let go. She pleads, nope. Get used to it. I'm going to make you love hugs. Not possible. Now, let go. She slaps my back. No. After a few moments of struggling, she stills. I smile in triumph, then hear a rustling of a bag behind me. Then she floats it front of my nose. Look at what I got. She say in a sing-song voice. Let me go, and I'll give you this nice yummy bag of jerky. I squeeze her tighter. No, that won't work. Premium quality, perfectly seasoned, perfectly textured. All yours, just let go, she offered. Okay. Faster than she could blink, I was eating the jerky while walking down the street to the boat. That was harder than I thought it would be. I hear her comment to Zoro. Ah, wonderful meat. It was so hard to resist, but that stubborn woman needed that hug. Just you wait, Sky. I'll prove you wrong. You may be a monster, but I love monsters and you are my vampire. We can't go to the Grand Line like this. We die. Nami states. We need a ship and more crew members. I've been trying to get an actual ship for months, but he refuses, saying it's not time yet. I tell her, pointing to Luffy. Also, he definitely wants a seafaring cook. I want some sort of doctor. I can only heal others a little, and my first aid is basic. We can get a ship now. Luffy says out of the blue. I also want a musician, Pirates Sane. I took a moment to celebrate that we could get a ship. We are heading south to an inhabited island, a place called Syrup Village. Perhaps we can get a ship there. How do you know where we are going? Nami asks. Contrary to your belief, we can follow a compass and map. I point to Luffy and myself. Zoro scowls. I stole a map of the East Blue from someone a few months ago. Why not buy one? This one is more complete. Show me, she demands, holding her hand out. No, you don't need to see it. We need a navigator for the Grand Line, not the East Blue. By the way, do you even know how to navigate the Grand Line? I ask her. What is there to know? You just need a map, a compass, and knowledge of the sea, winds, and sky. And I have all of those, Nami says confidently. Hey Luffy, looks like you need to give her a crash course on navigating the Grand Line, once we have a ship and the other thing. I call out. Hi. Remind me later, he replies from his position on the small figurehead. What other thing? Nami looks at me, suspicious. You'll see. Now leave me alone. I tell her. After scouting the island, I enter the little restaurant, simply labeled, food. Nami, Zoro, and Luffy were just finishing up with their food and drinks. As I sit next to Luffy, he focuses on me. Sky, what did you find out? It's a sleepy little village. Nothing happens much. The most exciting thing is a boy called Usopp. Runs around every day, yelling about how pirates are attacking. He is the liar or exaggerator of the town, and every day the villagers chase him around. He's also Yasopp's son. Luffy tells me. The sharpshooter on Shanks' crew. Luffy nods. He also seems to be captain of a small band of pirates kids here. Did you hear anything about the mansion on the hill? Zoro asks. I nod. The current occupant's parents died a year ago. She, Kaya, has quite the fortune. She is sick though, but I don't think it's natural. I'm not sure, but I think there is some sort of poison in her system. Her blood smells off. Everyone yells. You can't just say that so nonchalant, Nami yells at me. How can you smell poison in her blood anyway? That's impossible. What's the truth? It's the truth, whether you believe it or not is up to you, I tell her. Before Nami could yell at me more, Luffy speaks up. What about the servants? Were you able to sense anything from them? Everyone holds a great love for the heiress, but the butler, Klahadore, I shake my head. He seems caring, but there is something lurking beneath that I can't get a read on. He arrived 3 years ago and became a trusted member of the family, but there is something wrong there. I just can't place it. Luffy leans back in seat thinking, I need to see this butler. You all seem to be finished with your food. Let's go now. We can't go through the gates though. There are some guards there. About 10 minutes later we were at the fence surrounding the huge home. Luffy turns to Nami and Zoro. Do you want to stay here or go in? Telling us they want to go inside, Luffy grabs Zoro and I grab Nami, Geppo. Nami screams in my ear as we leap high into the air then fall down. 2 air bounces later we are on the ground. Never doing that again, Nami says shakily. I snicker, it was not that bad. You went far higher than we needed to and made us fall longer than we should have. Who are you? I heard Kaya's voice before I could reply. I went to stand near Luffy. Before Usopp could stammer out an answer, Luffy says, we are here to ask for a favor from you. We were wondering if you, there, what do you think you were doing breaking into other people's property? A man calls out and I tense. Klahadore. I whisper to Luffy. He nods. Well, my favor has been granted without me asking for it. Kaya tries to explain, but is cut off by the butler. That can wait for now. You can explain later. Leave all of you, unless you have something to say. We don't. We'll take our leave. We apologize for the intrusion, Luffy says as we begin to walk off. Usopp-kun, Klahadore calls out. I put my hand on Luffy's shoulder as I see him struggle to hold himself back as Usopp and Yasopp are insulted by the butler. If it's money you want, how much do you want? Enough, Klahadore. Apologize at once to Usopp, Kaya cries. Why should I apologize for telling the truth? Klahadore states with superiority. As Klahadore spouts more insults, Usopp can't take it anymore. A well-delivered punch and, shut up. I am proud my father left to be a brave warrior of the sea. I am an exaggerator, but I'll never lie about having the blood of a pirate. I'm proud to be the son of a pirate. Klahadore gets up. I ignore the next words he's spouting out as I see blood drip out of his mouth from the punch. A meeting with someone wearing heart-shaped sunglasses. A red crescent moon. A malicious grin as blood drips from multiple knives. Seeing bits of someone's past, from their blood, was still pretty new and jarring for me, as I never dared before to focus on blood very long. I sigh as I hear Kaya say isn't a bad man. Telling her who this man really is, will break her. I wonder if she is strong enough to move past this when things are brought to light. We leave shortly after Usopp as the butler yells at us to leave as well. Sometime down the road, Luffy turns to me. I know what you felt. It was greed and bloodlust. That doesn't surprise me. Though it must have been hard or Kaya to watch, I'm glad Usopp stood up for himself and punched Klahadore. That punch made his mouth bleed and I could see bits of his past. I tell him. Oh please, not you too. We don't need another liar, comments Nami. Quiet Nami, Luffy orders. What did you find out? He's former Captain Kuro of the Black Cat Pirates. Django is the current captain, but has met with Kuro recently. The man with 1,000 plans. Makes sense. He was basically stating his intentions, but kept himself in the clear by implying Usopp was the one who wanted Kaya's fortune. Luffy turns to look in the direction of the sea. I need to speak with Usopp. May I come with you? I ask. Luffy nods and then turns to Zoro and Nami. Do you want to stay here? Best if we stay. Too many people giving this news to him wouldn't be good, Zoro comments. If you were even right, Nami comments. Before Luffy and I could leave to search for Usopp, he comes sprinting down the road. What's with his expression? Is he still mad about the insults? Nami asks. I think this is something else. I say. Listening for a moment. He is warning the villagers about pirates attacking the village tomorrow morning. They don't believe him. Seems like Kuro is making his move tomorrow though. Are we going to help? Zoro asks. Hi. He is Yasopp's son. I'd never be able to look him in the eye if I let his son and this village be destroyed, Luffy says. Is that the only reason? Nami yells. You yelled too much. Your poor vocal cords, Nami. I console, and my poor ears. There's another reason. You'll learn it when we talk to Usopp. Luffy tells her. I frown as I hear a gunshot. Meet you wherever he is headed. I'm going to get the first aid kit. Luffy nods and waves me off. After speaking with Usopp, one entrance to the village was being guarded by Luffy and I, while the other one was being guarded by the others. It was now almost daybreak, the time when the pirates will arrive. Nay, Sky? What have you figured out about Nami? Luffy asks after I wake him up. Her mother was killed in front of her. She needs 100 million berries to buy back pirates, but as part of Arlong's crew. She has his mark on her left shoulder. I had seen it when I was taking care of her boat and she was sleeping. She won't ask for help unless something in her situation changes, Luffy states. Yep. What I want to know is why does Arlong have her on his crew? He's known for hating humans. She has a skill he needs. I nod in agreement. I open my mouth to say more when I feel Zoro's aura flare. He figured it out. Well, time to fight. Yoshi. Meet you there, Soru. Luffy was gone. I put my hood and mask on and follow. We reach the north slope just as Django tries to hypnotize the others into letting them pass. Luffy looks at me. Glad you could join us. TCH. You're 10 seconds ahead. I had to put my hood and mask on. I counter. Oi, now is not the time for that you two, Nami yells. Actually, it's the perfect time for a contest. Zoro, Luffy, care to see who can take out more of these guys? You're on, Zoro says as he puts his third sword grip in his mouth. No, Rokushiki or powers. Just swords, knives, and hand-to-hand. Luffy says the rules. Ryoukai. I got left. I call out, middle, Luffy. That leaves me the right. Zoro. Luffy counts down, 3, 2, 1, go. I run forward and begin to take out guys, counting each one. It was a short battle as the three of us were determined to beat each other. We met halfway down the slope. Alright, call out your amounts. Luffy says, I got 18. 17. Zoro. I got 17. Dang. Zoro and I are tied. How are we going to break it? I look at Zoro, then at the downed men. Seeing Django try to rally his men using hypnosis, I say to Luffy, Django's chakram. He's rallying his crew, using hypnosis with it. I see Luffy nod. Shigen. He sends an air bullet in Django's direction, shattering the weapon. Nami, now would be a good time to get your treasure. I'll cover you. Hi. She quickly runs down the slope with my concealment protecting her. Django curses. Captain Kuro is going to be furious. Nayabin brothers. Two weirdly dressed men jump out of the ship just as Nami climbs on. What is with this crew with such odd characters? My poor eyes having to look at what they're wearing. It's just not right. My poor brain. Why'd I have to have such a good memory that I'll be plagued by this? One guy ran up acting all pitiful. I wasn't fooled though. Glad to see Zoro wasn't either. He keeps his 3 swords out. I enjoyed the shock on the guy's face as Zoro neatly dodges and slices him on the chest. How? My acting was perfect. Green head. Nope, that's Zoro. Weird cat guy number 1 looked slightly terrified as he realized Zoro's eyes were closed. Let's go, Butchie, we'll do this together. Alright, Sean. Answered weird cat guy number 2. No way. I jump in front of Butchie. You're mine, there is no way I'm going to let Zoro get ahead of me. As you wish. He aims a kick at me and I dodge. A few more times of this and weird cat guy number 2 starts just clawing at me over and over. Thankfully, even though it was fast for the average person, it was quite slow to me and I could block or dodge each strike. Creating an opening, I force one of his strikes to my left and slice upwards with my right knife at his torso. Thankfully, the cut was deep, but not deep enough to kill him if he didn't move. Stay down, or you'll bleed to death. I order him. He nods frantically. I look up to see Zoro had finished and won his fight. I feel the area behind me darken and I turn around to see Kuro at the top of the hill. Without his careful mask, I could feel the rage and bloodlust. How far the Black Cat pirates have fallen. I knew the kid would put up a fight, but I didn't count on you being so feeble, eh, Django? Kuro yells, enraged. Feeble? The Nayabin brothers rush Kuro to kill him. Baka, you'll die, if not from him, but from that cut I gave you, I yelled to my former opponent. I'm ignored. As they attack, Kuro starts moving. Disappearing then reappearing behind the brothers, easily caging them in. Was that Soru? Zoro asks. A rudimentary form. He may seem fast, but he is actually quite slow, I answer. What? I hear Django yell. He must have heard my answer. I look behind me to see he had moved further up the hill. Luffy, for some reason, was standing behind him. He could kill 50 assassins before they ever sense him. Normal ones perhaps. With further trained ones though, he'd be caught or dead. I have to applaud him though. He learned the basics with no teacher. I say to Django. You think you are faster? Growls out Kuro. I don't think so. I say to him smirking. I know so. You have 5 minutes to kill these brats, or I'll kill you all with my bare hands. Kuro threatens to the 2 in his grasp. Hiding behind your crew, Kuro, fight us yourself. Or at least me. I'm not sure Zoro is ready yet. I couldn't help throwing into my statement. Oi! Zoro yells. 5 minutes. He repeats. The brothers rush us, but I see the resignation in their eyes. They'll die by our hands, or by Kuro's claws. Gomen ne, Zoro, but I'm using powers. This will not count. Using my own hypnosis and air, I created a lullaby for only them to hear and they dropped asleep. I look at the 2 men. I can't fight them when they are in this state. If they were fresh, perhaps, but they are heavily injured. HMPH. I guess I agree. Zoro states. TCH, we are still even though. I would have had more, but I think Luffy took some out of my lane, I declare. Ha, yeah right. Luffy took some out of my lane or I would have beat you, Zoro counters. It's about time for everyone to die now. Kuro moves his claws for attacking. I sense a gentle soul coming right behind Kuro too late. Usopp, I yell as he takes the claws slices for Kaya. I was beginning to like the guy. He was constantly afraid, but he still powered through, even if it did take a bit to get him to do so. Kaya offers her fortune if Kuro would leave, but he says he'll take her fortune, kill the villagers and kill her. She tries to shoot him, but is manipulated into remembering good, at least to her, memories, dropping the gun. I owe you for that punch you gave me, Kuro tells Usopp as he holds his head in a claw cage. Soru. I feel Luffy move and Kuro is punched back. You don't like punches, I've got hundreds more for you. Luffy turns to Usopp, get Kaya to safety. Usopp nods. Hi, but we can handle Kuro and the rest. Usopp quickly gets up and takes Kaya and leaves to a safer area. Kuro gets up. Django, you take care of the girl, I'll handle the boy. Hi, Captain. He moves up the hill, but Zoro and I block him. Stop. We can't let you pass. Zoro hold out his sword. Actually Zoro, he's yours. I'll take third. I bow and move off. I ignore his protests, and sit on the slope cross-legged. Something is wrong. What is this bloodlust I'm feeling? I just fed a few hours ago. I look around and I realize it's coming from Kuro, and because I had been focusing on him so much, his emotions were leaking into my own. I decide to focus on him more and realize, he wants blood spilled, not just ours and the villagers, but everyone in his crew as well. He wants nothing left of his old life so he can have his peace. Captain, he wants everyone dead. Even his crew. I tell him, my voice strained. His intent to kill was overwhelming. Luffy turns to look at me. You alright? What's wrong? His bloodlust is fad too strong. I'm trying to block my senses, but I am tuned into him too much. Focus on me, Sky. Follow my rhythm. I did as he suggested. It was difficult as Kuro's aura appealed far more to my vampire side. I watch Luffy's bright rhythm filled with life, determination, and dreams. As I focused on his aura, I watch him take down Kuro, lessening the bloodlust in me. I watch him force Kuro into a punch, dodging so his claws were stuck deep into rock, and Luffy kick his hand, snapping the claws and no doubt his wrist. The follow-up kick was infused with a small amount of haki as he sent Kuro flying. I felt and saw Luffy's anger spike into fury as Kuro confirms what I had say, pawns that live or die for his plans. Luffy just stared blankly at Kuro. No matter how many plans you have and how many crew members you command, you'll never be better than Usopp. Tell me how that boy playing pirate is better than me. Kuro disappears and appears behind Luffy. Character. Luffy replies before planting a kick in Kuro's chest, sending him onto the cliff walls. You don't know what a true pirate is. If you're so eager to see a real pirate, I'll show you one. Kuro begins moving oddly. What is he? I gasp as disappears, and with haki I see him moving far faster than before, although quite erratically. Mamoru. I throw up a shield in time to protect myself and Zoro. When did he sit here? From the random claw strike. Is that Soru? Asks Zoro. It has the speed of it, but he has tunnel vision. He doesn't know how to properly move at this speed, so he can't see where he is going. Fine for him as he doesn't care who or what he hits. Luffy's not liking this. He was carefully dodging the random hits, but I could see him calculating. What do you take your nakama for? I wince as his torso is sliced as he's yelling. He smiled, not his normal one though. There you are. Reaching out, he grabs Kuro's collar and slams him into the ground. Bastard. Should have let me continue. Now my adorable men are in agony. You and them should just let me kill you all. Kuro taunts and once again goes into his Nuki Ashi ability. Luffy stands there waiting with his sword poised to strike. A few more cuts on his body and then he strikes out. Arg! Kuro yells in pain as he appears rolling, unable to properly stop because of the laceration in his thigh. He slowly moves to kneel on his good knee. Luffy walks up to the man. We'll see if you can ever use that ability again. As if I'd lose to a pirate who abandons his name. The only time a pirate should do that is when he dies. The Black Cats were shocked. You beat him, even when the Marines couldn't. Who are you? Luffy faces the men. I'm Monkey D. Luffy. Remember it, as I'm going to be king of the pirates. He knocks out Kuro with a kick to the head. Grabbing him, he throws the man at the pirates. Take him, leave, and never return. Nami runs up as the pirates flee. Good work. Luffy collapses. I guess even you would collapse after this. I drop my shield and walk over to where Luffy is lying down. Nauru. I gently heal his wounds. What were you so mad about earlier? Nami asks Luffy. Luffy sits up now that he was healed. I hate them. They're wrong. Nakama do not treat each other like that. Of course not, but Kuro is pretty much the standard pirate. They're not the lovely things you paint them to be. Pirates are supposed to be people exploring the sea to accomplish their dreams, have adventures, meets new friends and find new places. Luffy sighs. Unfortunately that view is fading. I could see the longing in Nami's face. For a moment I felt my heart ache, something it hasn't done since I was injected with the virus. Well, so I can still feel emotions like that. She caught me watching her and looks away. Hi, it is rare. You're rare. Oh, we look at Luffy. I want meat. I laugh as Nami slams the straw hat on his head muttering, unbelievable. After putting the food I had stocked up into the galley, relieved to have a place to put it, I stand at the railing of the new ship Kaya has given us in thanks for helping her. She was still a bit weak, but with the antidote and some real rest, she'll be better in no time. The wind felt good on my face and despite the amount of sun I was getting I felt good. Hey, Luffy, should I start helping Usopp with Kenbunshoku Haki? I called to him where he was on the ship's figurehead. Hi. Now that we have a ship, we can really start training. Plus with a few stops at different islands where we'll have more space too. He turns around and jumps off the figurehead, walking to me. What is Haki? Nami asks as she walks up next to me. Are we training her too? I ask. Luffy studies Nami. Hi. Even if she leaves the crew, it'll be a good skill for her to have. I like her. I nod in understanding. Ryoukai. I'll work with her too. What is Haki? Nami repeats. Using Zoro, we demonstrate Kenbunshoku Haki. Luffy demonstrates Busashoku Haki by letting me slice a knife on his black-colored arm, but not getting cut. I sigh, now I need a new knife. I did not think that through. That was a further step of Busashoku Haki. When you use Haki, it's normally not visible. I look at my broken knife. I'd use my powers to repair it, but making a knife is different than infusing clothes with metal. There was more tempering. Next place that has a weapons shop, I need to buy a few knives. So anyone can learn Haki? Usopp asks. These two types. There is a third, that only a few are born with, but I won't go into that now. Luffy answers. Now, Busashoku Haki requires physical strength, so you'll be putting these rings on. I hand everybody the gravity rings I had made, based on each one's weight and amount they could lift. How come it's so hard to move? Nami cries. They are rings that only affect the area around your body. This will train your body to be able to move faster when the ring is removed. By the way, don't take them off till you are used to the weight or really need to fight. They'll dissipate, I explain. How can you do that? Nami asks. Is it like your healing abilities? Are you a devil fruit user? How come you can use 2 elements? I tense. I wasn't expecting these questions so soon. I thought I'd have time for Usopp and her to adjust more to being with this crew. You don't have to answer yet, Sky, Luffy tells me. I look at him and give a tired smile. Don't I? Better to have them run now than in the future when we need them. Luffy sighs. Sky, it won't be like that. We'll see. I look back at Usopp and Nami. Do you believe that vampires exist? Vampires? You mean monsters that go about in the night and suck people dry of their blood? Don't tell me you are actually one, Sky, Nami yells at me. I look at Luffy with a look that said, what did I tell you? Not all vampires are like that. Usopp states, though his voice shakes a bit. I once told Kaya about a vampire that hates sucking blood, but she needed it. So she tricks people into painlessly giving her blood through donations, and the people are fine. She was a nice person overall. Powerful too. It was a story, but I believe there are those kind of vampires out there, he finishes firmly. You have one as your crewmate, Luffy tells him. Really? You truly are a vampire and are like that? Usopp asks, both fearful and excited. I nod. Like you said, I hate sucking blood, except when I was very first turned and couldn't control it. I choose to not drink directly from people. I have a lot of blood stocked up from donations, so I'll never have to drink from any of you unless I have to have blood to stay sane and I don't have a supply nearby. But you can walk in the sun, you look normal. No fangs or glowing eyes. Nami looks very confused. I am not completely sure what normal vampires can or cannot do. I was turned in a lab against my will, But the sun doesn't hurt me as long as I don't remain in it too long. If I'm low on blood, then it really begins to hurt and I start to burn. I let my fangs out and open my eyes, knowing they have changed color. This is what happens when I need blood or let my vampire free. It's kind of creepy, but from what I could see of you, in the time we have been together, you do seem nice, Nami says hesitantly. You are in control? I nod. If I ever seems like I'll lose it, I remove myself from whatever situation and people and take some blood that I always carry with me. I pat my satchel. I don't kill unless the situation calls for it, or I'm ordered to. I'll never kill for blood if I can help it. I'm still afraid, but I think I'll get used to it eventually. Usopp nods in agreement to Nami's words. Just give me some time please, Sop. I start to head to the crow's nest. Thank you for not running or trying to kill me. Giving you time is the least I can do. She expected us to kill her, I hear Nami ask. Someone saved her from another world. A world that killed her kind for existing. Good or bad? I hear Luffy reply before I tune out and watch the sea. Is it possible? Is Luffy's statement true? Can the ones he chooses accept all of me? I feel hope rising up in me. Dang it Luffy. You better be right. Shichibukai, Dracule Mihawk is here, and I whisper to Luffy. Nami has left. I add, raising my voice for the others to hear, as we look at Krieg's destroyed galleon, taking the Going Merry and all the treasure with her. What? Why? Zoro yells. She's making this worse than it should be. Already? I was hoping she could wait one more day. Luffy comments. Zoro, take Usopp and the hunter duo with you and head to Arlong Park. It's where she is headed, Luffy orders. Why? We can always get another ship and find another navigator, Zoro comments. No, she is the only one I want as my navigator, Luffy states firmly. After a few moments. Fine, Johnny, your boat still here? Hi, Zoro and Ikki. Johnny answers. Zoro was about to say more, when Krieg's men start yelling about the guy who destroyed the fleet. Luffy and I sigh. Nand, he couldn't have waited to come just a few minutes later, I complained. Zoro looks at me wide-eyed, you knew he was coming? With Haki. He is a powerhouse in the weakest of the seas. He's glaringly bright amidst all this. I wave my hand around to indicate everything around us. To think, the man I've been searching for is here. I know I can't beat him, but I have to see how far I have to go. Zoro makes his way to Mihawk. Zoro, take off your rein, I call to him as he leaves. He has improved, but compared to the world's greatest swordsman, he's still lacking. I comment quietly to Luffy, not wanting to hear the protesting hero worship from the hunter duo. Luffy nods. True. He then looks at me intently. Sky, how do you think he is doing on your advice? I watch Zoro as he battles Mihawk. He's doing better. He's slowly understanding what I mean about a fight's rhythm. How he is the dancer. His swords are his partner, and his opponent is the music. I sigh as one of Zoro's special attacks is easily blocked by Mihawk's dagger. His speed has improved. So has his endurance. Luffy comments. Against Mihawk though, he's painfully slow. Perhaps we should teach him Soru? He's shown interest. Most of his strength is in his upper body though. He has the basics down though with those dashes he uses for his special attacks. So normal weight training with his lower body muscles. Luffy trails off as Zoro is pierced close to his heart. You are going to just let me pierce your heart? Why won't you withdraw? Mihawk asks. I don't know. I just know that if I take even one step back, everything I've done and promised till now will be meaningless and I won't be able to get back to where I am. Zoro tells him. That is what defeat is about. All the more reason to not withdraw. Even if you die, I'd rather die, Zoro says with conviction. Mihawk was impressed. What is your name? He asks as pulls his dagger back. Roronoa Zoro, he says as he prepares his final attack. Mihawk takes the giant sword from his back. I'll remember it. I haven't encountered one like you in a while, so as a swordsman's courtesy, I'll sink you using the world's strongest sword. I appreciate it. Zoro prepares his final attack and as he finishes the move, Mihawk surges forward shattering his weaker blades and cutting his torso. That's that. I look at Luffy. He's gripping the rail so hard that it's cracking. Peace, Luffy. No matter what, Zoro has impressed him, I highly doubt he's going to be killed. I know, it's just… Luffy trails off. You hate seeing your nakama hurt in any way. I finish. Hi. He whispers. He uses Soru to get to Mihawk as Zoro is deeply slashed across the chest. He aims a punch at Mihawk's head, but the man neatly dodges. I follow and land a few feet away from Mihawk as Luffy prepares another attack. Don't Luffy. Like I said, he's alive. We look at the water as Yosaku and Johnny surface, with Zoro held between them. Gomen Nesai, I just saw that slash and… Luffy tries to explain. I hold up a hand to stop him. I understand and Zoro most likely would appreciate your actions. Luffy nods and sits down. I look at Mihawk, who had been studying our interaction. He nods at me and then looks at Zoro, who is now in the duo's boat. It's still too early for you to die. My name is Dracule Mihawk. Discover your true self, the true world. Become stronger. However long it may take, I shall await you at the top. Surpass this sword. Surpass me. Roronoa Zoro. Hope you have a lot of patience. It's going to be a while, I comment. Luffy snickers. Really, Sky? Now of all times? I shrug, a smile tugging at my lips. Mihawk turns and looks at Luffy. What is your goal, kid? King of the Pirates. Luffy states with no hesitation. That'll be even harder than surpassing me. How would I know, when I haven't done it yet? Luffy sticks his tongue out at him. I cough into my hand trying to cover my laugh. Mihawk looks at me closely. And yours? I shrug. It's nothing special, I just want freedom. He hums. I see. Luffy. Zoro suddenly calls out. Can you hear me? Hi. Luffy answers. Zoro holds up his remaining sword, and gasps out. Did I worry you? You need no less than the world's greatest swordsman, right? Zoro coughs out blood. I will not lose again, till I defeat him and become a master swordsman. I won't lose ever again. Got a problem with that. King of the Pirates, he finishes, voice heavy with tears. Nope. She. Luffy answers. I look at Mihawk's impressed expression. Well. You did more than I thought you would, Greenhead. I mutter. Have to get a better name. I jump to the boat the others were in. Looking at Zoro, I kneel down and rip open his shirt. Nauru. I heal Zoro other wounds, but not the gash. I stare at it for a moment. That's going to be difficult. I reach out again. Don't heal it. Zoro gasps out. TCH. I stand up. Fine. The others can work on it as you go look after Nami. The others nod and begin to sail to Arlong Park. I jump back onto one of the Barati's railing. I turn around to watch Mihawk leaving, saying something about a nap. I roll my eyes as Krieg tries to kill him. Arrogant fool. Luffy lands next to me on the railing, after avoiding falling into the sea. Hey, owner? Do you mind if we fight Krieg? Suit yourself. Answers Zeph. You said you were going to be king of the pirates. Were you serious? Luffy turns around and looks at Zeph. Yeah, I'll definitely be king of the pirates. I've met a lot of people, but none have said that as clearly as you. Luffy looks excited. I heard you were an incredibly strong pirate. Were you going to be king of the pirates? I turn around as Zeph states he has forgot the past and how owning a restaurant is enough for him. I look at Sanji's face, and was pretty sure he was feeling guilty. I look back at the attacking pirates as I hear a gunshot. That's the second one he has killed today. I comment. I look at Sanji as he walks near us. This restaurant will be the battlefield, he comments. I look at the ship considering. Too bad. It's a nice place. With the way Luffy fights, there'll be nothing left. Sanji turns to one of the cooks. Open up the fins. We can't let the inside become a battlefield. If we do, the old geezer will complain. Did you say something, you damn brat? Zeph growls out. Sanji looks at him. Yes, I said you like to complain. He looks at the cook. Now, go. Yahoo, here they come. Geppo. Luffy jumps up and runs to the pirates. He's running on air. The pirates exclaim in fear. He must have an Akuma no Mi, Krieg yells. The cooks behind me agree. I look at them and correct them. Nope, he doesn't have one. He is just skilled in a special form of fighting called Rokushiki. Never heard of it. Sanji comments. It's only taught in one place. We were lucky to get info on it. I tell him. I smirk at him. You could learn it if you join his crew. Tempting, he says, looking at me with hearts in his eyes. Will you be my teacher? I scoot farther down the railing away from him. Hey Captain? Do we have to have this guy? He's a pervert and creepy. Luffy sensei, yes. We have to have him. I melt down and sit on the railing in despair. I'll never feel at peace again. Luffy turns to Krieg. You attacked the restaurant after they gave you food. I'll beat up a jerk like you. You dare to fight on the water with little footholds. I know one thing about Akuma no Mi, is that they are helpless in the sea. Krieg states. Anchor boy. I don't have an Akuma no Mi. Sky has water powers though, Luffy tells him. Oi, don't go telling just anyone that, I yell at Luffy. Hee hee, sorry. Luffy smiles back at me. TCH. Sure you are. Luffy and I agreed that I would only use my water powers in fights. That way I can claim I was a devil fruit user and not be hunted for multiple elemental abilities. Suddenly, with the noise of gears turning, large platforms start rising out of the water and slam into place. Ah. I get it now. Fins. Nice, I say. Sanji and the cooks step forward to protect the Baratie. The ship shakes again as something else is released from it. I look as the fish head detaches and cannons fire. I look as Luffy jumps in the air and stays there hopping in place. Sugoi, I want one. He watches as the fish ship heads for Krieg. I tilt my head as Krieg stops the ship coming for him with his hand, lifting it into the air, flinging it towards the Baratie. I prepare to stop it when Sanji jumps up and kicks it away. Well, hey, Captain. Perhaps I can deal with his flirting after all if he can do more things like that. Thank you Sky-san. Sanji yells, hearts once more in his eyes. Pay attention to the fight, not me, Baka, I yell at him. She. I hear Luffy laughing. Shut up, I yell in his general direction. As the cooks who were in the now crashed boats run up and start yelling at Sanji. I snicker as Sanji doesn't care one bit about their complaints. Heads up, your real enemy is here. I call out to the distracted cooks. Soon all the cooks are thrown back injured. As the pirates boast away about being stronger than the average pirate and being the rulers of the East Blue, I jump to the fin and stretch. You're still in the weakest sea. I comment. Compared to other pirates, you're nothing. I take out my knives. This ship will never be yours. Hi, we won't let you take one step into this restaurant, Sanji declares. They're exactly right, Zeph agrees. As the two cooks who were in the fish ship went on about how they'd protect this restaurant and how they came to be there, I look at the water seeing a weird thing swimming this way. It climbs out of the water shooting something at Patty and Carne with a flick of his fingers. As the man steps climbed onto the fin and starts talking about himself, I couldn't help yelling, another one? What is it with pirate crews and weirdly dressed guys? The man glares at me and I glare right back. Some idiot tries to steal the cook's knife and Sanji walks up and kicks into three others guys into the main shield of Pearlman. Sanji returns the knife to Patty. The other pirates try to attack and Sanji attacks again. I grin as I see Sanji use something similar to Soru to get to the middle of the attacking men. Nay, Sanji, why do you only use kicks? I ask. To cooks, hands are most important. I can't have them hurt in battle. I'll take him down with this leg as well. He points with his leg to Pearl. Actually, may I fight him? I ask Sanji sweetly. Are you sure, milady? Sanji asks, his demeanor going from threatening to amorous in seconds. Hi. Ha. You take me down. I am an invincible man who has won all 61 of my fights unharmed. I've never bled in battle, not even one drop. You are going to now. Koka. I coated my hands in hockey, giving my matte black gloves a glossy sheen. Soru. I surge forward and punch the pearl in the main shield, shattering it, the shield with it, and most likely gave him some internal injuries, if the blood he coughed out meant anything. Oh look, you're bleeding. With a swift kick to the head I knock him out. Ooh. Nice one, Sky, Luffy calls out as he dodges Krieg's spiked ball. Behind you. I disappear and reappear behind Jin holding a pistol to his back. Don't move. You don't have the guts to pull the trigger, Jin says. On the contrary, this is nothing. I tell him. He moves his arm to aim the gun in his hand and I pull the trigger. Arg! He cries in pain and drops to the deck. I kick the gun away from him. Don't worry, I didn't hit anything major. You alive? I walk away from him and stand next to Luffy who had landed on the fin. He grins at me. Another one down. Now, time to take care of Goldie. The weaker pirates try to rush forward and fight. Tsunami. I caused a small yet powerful wave, sweeping them off the fin back into the water. Weaklings. You've all failed me. Even my battle commander. It's time to take care of things myself. One shot and this restaurant will be mine, Krieg yells, holding up his arm and preparing something. MMH5. The most powerful gas weapon. Mask. Get your mask on. Using such a method, you'll kill us too, you bastard, his men started yelling. Fools. Foul play. Dirty. What's wrong with that? Winning is all that matters. The end result is all that matters, who cares how you get there? Krieg silences his men as they all put masks on. Sky, protect the Baratie. Luffy tells me. Mamoru? I quickly form a dome around the Baratie from the sea and my personal energy as the bomb is fired. It explodes against my shield and I wince as the pressure pushes at my control. As the winds of the sea push away the poison, I carefully let the dome dissolve, starting in front of us where I knew the gas would not be. I completely let go as the gas fully dissipates. I look at Luffy as trembles in rage. You would kill your own men? Ones who tried to follow orders. One who even though he was shown kindness tried to help you by taking the owner hostage. And this is how you repay them, bombing them with poison. Luffy jumps to Krieg and punches him in his torso, cracking the armor. Stepping back, Rankyaku. Bureku. An air slash at the same spot and Krieg's armor shatters. Not giving Krieg any chance to fight back, Luffy kicks him high into the air, and uses Geppo to follow. Raining rapid punches to his torso and face. Luffy gives a final hockey-infused kick sending Krieg down into the fin. Luffy lands on the fin a few feet away, breathing heavily, more out of anger than exertion. Pulling himself together he looks at the pirates around him. Leave, and never come back. The pirates scramble to do so and frantically beg for a boat from the cooks. They oblige and give them a boat. Chato Mat. I call out. The pirates stop and look at me fearfully. I walk over to Jin. I'm going to heal you. Take these men and become a better captain than Krieg ever was or can be. How you do that is up to you, but it better be a good way. I place my hand on his back, Nauru. He gets up and bows to me, arigato, I'll do my best. He and the rest of the pirates leave, sailing to who knows where. I look at Luffy. Well, Captain, I leave the rest to you. I'm going to go rest. I point to a secluded spot where no one would see me. Okay, Sky. See you later. Luffy calls. I slide down the wall in the spot I had pointed to. Taking out my blood inhaler, I drank some. Yikes, that took more out of than I thought it would. Healing Zoro, then Jin, plus the water dome. At least I didn't have to use light. I think I'm going to meditate for a while. Putting away the inhaler I lie down against the wall and let myself slip into watching the elements dance. I open my eyes to an unfamiliar ceiling. Looking to my left I see Luffy reading a book in a chair next to my bunk. What happened? Luffy looks up. Not sure, but I think you fell asleep. Thought you didn't sleep. I sit up. I haven't in years and I've been perfectly fine without it. I swing my legs over the edge of the bunk and set my feet on the floor. Well, I thought I couldn't. Oh, and where are we? Sanji's boat on the way to Arlong Park. He closes in a satchel hanging on his chair. It could be that you can sleep, but never was relaxed enough to do it. Makes sense. They were always making me do stuff at any hour of the day or night. Plus even in my cell it wasn't safe. They had it rigged so they could do experiments on me any moment. I freeze and look at Luffy. Sorry, I didn't mean to tell you that. It's fine. I just wish I could go and beat them all up for what they did to you, Luffy states. They're dead, so don't worry. I'm pretty sure I'm the only survivor of that place. Thankfully at the time there was only the S of the planet there and no innocents. I say to him reassuringly. Good. What? They are the few types of people even I don't want alive. Luffy explains when I gave him a surprised face. Arigato. How are we going to help Nami? I change the subject. We can't do anything till she asks for help. I feel if we help her without letting her try her way, she'll resent us for all time. I don't want that. Ryoukai. Let things play out and be there to help her when needed. I stand and walk to the door of the cabin. Well, time to face the flirt. She. Good luck. He's been hovering at that door since we got on the boat around 30 minutes ago. I open the door cautiously and peek out. Using Haki, I felt Sanji near the back of the boat. I quickly make my way to the roof of the cabin, hoping to avoid him. I breath in relief as I lie down and stare into the blue sky and clouds. Sleep. I actually slept. Even at somebody else's place where pirates had just attacked. How? I think back on the past couple hours and realize something. Luffy. I trusted him to be able to handle everything and could just let go for a bit. I spent a year with him, but I hadn't realized how much I've come to trust him to be able to protect me till now. Why, though? In terms of power, I far outrank him. I have the power to create or destroy in my very being, and yet, I feel safe with him, even with strangers nearby. I roll over and peek over the edge of the roof and stare at Luffy, where he was now at the bow of the ship. Nothing about him had changed. Still had the same clothes and weapons, crazy grin, and though his power levels had increased, I knew that wasn't why I trusted him. Nakama, I whisper. It means something special to him, but what exactly? Something in me knew the answer, but my brain hasn't caught up. I know that was the reason why I trust him though. I find that answer. I find my answer. Seeing a sea king rise from the sea, I sit up. I watch Luffy walk up to it with a plate of meat and carefully instruct it on how to eat it without eating the plate or him. Luffy then jumps onto the head and starts scratching him behind the ear. I like you, Luffy declares. Can you tow us to Arlong Park? I laugh hard at Sanji's look of surprise as the Sea King nods. Sky, can you make some vines? Luffy asks. Hi. I jump down onto the deck and focus some energy between my palms, making vines grow and wrap around the creature's horns and then fastened the ends to 2 points on the ship so we wouldn't be torn apart. To Arlong Park. Hang on, Nami. We are coming for you. Luffy yells as he stands on the bowsprit. Leaning back against the cabin wall, I focus on keeping my balance as we are towed to Nami in incredible speeds. In a far shorter amount of time than if it had just been as sailing with the winds, the Konami Islands appeared. Luffy, how come we aren't slowing down? I called to him. Fling us into the islands, Momu, as much as I want to fight Arlong. We can't go there yet, Luffy yells. Fling us? You can't be serious, Sanji yells. Oh, he's serious. Find something to hold on to, I answer Sanji. The Sea King somehow comes to an abrupt stop, making our boat shoot forward inland. Hoo-hoo. We are flying, Luffy yells as he somehow stays perfectly balanced where he is. And now we are falling, Sanji yells in panic as we lower down into the trees. I sense a familiar aura ahead of us. Quickly creating a vine above it, I wrap it around the aura and pull up. Yo, Zoro, Luffy yells, nice of you to join us. What the hell are you guys doing? Zoro explodes at us. Right now, crashing. I reply calmly. Sky? Luffy asks in a sing-song voice. I sigh. Baburu. Creating a bubble around the ship to, hopefully, cushion our crash. I grit my teeth as we skid through rice paddies and crash into a cliff. Falling to my knee holding the bubble until we were safe. Feeling the ship settle, I let the bubble go. Luffy turns around with a grin. We made it. We made it. Nay, Zoro. What were you doing in the woods? You're supposed to be looking after Nami. Where's Usopp and the hunter duo? Zoro looks alarmed. Usopp. That's right, there's no time. He was captured by Arlong and could be killed anytime. He was killed. A voice full of despair says. We all look around to see the hunter duo, shaking in tears. Usopp Aniki is dead. He was killed by Nami and, Johnny yells as he punches the ground. He's not dead. I tell them. I can feel his aura bright and full of life right now. Exactly. Luffy agrees. In fact, he's walking over there. Luffy points in the direction of the sea and to the left of Arlong Park. Yosaku speaks up. But you saw Nami trying to protect her position most likely. With us coming for her right after she returns home, it must have put her in a suspicious light with Arlong. I try to explain. By killing Usopp, she erases that suspicion. You knew about her? Zoro asks with disbelief. Not everything. Just a few bits here and there. Nami never told us anything, But Sky saw clues. It's why we wanted you guys to watch over her. All we truly know is that Nami is in a very difficult position, Luffy answers. But the treasure, in Kokoyashi village, she has to have been trying to win Arlong's favor to get it. She'd kill anyone to get it, Johnny protests. That treasure is most likely hers already. She's been trying to get 100 million berries to save someone. Most likely her village, I counter. Hi. Nami is our Nakama and would never kill Usopp, Luffy states. Who's Nakama, Luffy? Asks Nami. We are. No matter what you say, we came here to get you. Whatever happens with your agreement with Arlong, Luffy answers. She freezes. How do you know about that? I step forward. That'd be my doing. I heard a couple of your thoughts, saw a memory, and saw your tattoo one night when I was watching your boat for you before we reached Syrup Village. I shrug. With your goal of 100 million berries, it wasn't too difficult to put together a basic idea of your situation. You don't know everything. If you don't get off the island, Arlong will kill you all. Nami points her staff at us threatening. Stay out of this island's affairs and get out of here. Luffy falls onto his back in the middle of the road. I'm going to sleep. In this situation, in the middle of the road, Yosaku yells. I'm going to sleep. I'm not leaving the island and I don't care about this island's affairs. Wake me up in a bit, Luffy tells everyone then snores. I look at Nami's disbelieving face. We didn't come for the island's affairs. We came for you. We're staying until your deal is finished. It blows up, or you ask for help. I look at the others and then walk off in Nami's direction. Watch him. I'm going to explore. I stop next to Nami. He's claimed you as Nakama. He won't give up, but he won't force you. Nakama means something far different to him than to you or even me. I rush to Arlong Park and stand on one of the posts of the gate, using a concealment. I look around and see a fishman sitting in a chair. Must be Arlong since he's the only one sitting. I hear cannon fire and watch a cannonball head straight for Arlong. He catches in his teeth and crunches it in his mouth. Strong teeth. They look like a shark's. Saw-like nose. Saw shark fishman? As the fishmen leaders head to the ship that fired on them, I follow. Marines. Were their orders really to take on Arlong? Doesn't seem like it, or more ships. Another arrogant fool trying to take on what they can't. I land on the ship and watch the events play out. So, blue guy with weird lips can spit water out like a bullet. These fishmen play dirty. I hover in the air as I watch the ship torn apart by the whirlpool, thanks to the fishmen's actions. That fight didn't give me anything to work with. I scowl and head back to Arlong Park. I listen in on the leaders' conversation, when they have returned. This on the other hand, very informative. Bastard. I knew that someone like him would find a loophole in his agreement. Had to tell Luffy. I reach Luffy just as he's walking away from the others. The unknown woman in the group looks at me in surprise as I appear out of the blue. Who are you? I ask her. Nijiko. She replies. That tells me nothing. I shrug. Oh well. Luffy, I need to speak with you. Good, I was just going to take a walk. Come with me, Luffy says. I look at Nijiko. Are you a friend of Nami? I'm her sister, she answers. Go to her. She'll need support soon. I tell her, then walk off after Luffy. I walk just behind Luffy and to the side. What is it you want to tell me? He asks. Thanks to Arlong, Corrupt Navy Branch 16 is headed to Kokoyashi village to steal all Nami's money. So, he's breaking a promise. Luffy states. Seems so. He found a loophole in his agreement. He won't back out of the deal, but he'll make it harder for Nami to keep her end of the deal. They want her permanently in their grasp to make highly accurate maps for them. They don't want to let her go. Luffy seems to go deep into thought. After a few minutes we reach Kokoyashi village and the Marines pass by us with a man from the town with them. I could feel the greed in a lot of the men that passed by. Nay, Luffy, do I have permission to beat up a Marine unit? I ask after they're gone. Hi. What you do to them is your call. Luffy tells me. Wait, though. It's not time yet. But soon it will be. You'll get your navigator, and I'll be able to release a bit of my pent-up vampire. She. Indeed, I'll make Arlong pay for whatever he did and does to Nami, and you'll take care of the Marines.